Greetings one and all. As you can see, the room is filling up as it always does. Just to confirm, going live at 5 minutes past 8. So just a couple more minutes. Thank you all again for all those who have joined on time. Once again, just a couple more minutes, just get a few more people joining. 5 past 8 go live. Just a quick note as well, please. Please note, we will be going live on the likes of YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So please, as common sense should advise, please be mindful of what you say on said platform. This is going out globally. Okay? Thank you all. Couple more minutes, go live, 5 past 8. Thank you.
Yesterday, but that's
Greetings all. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm sure tonight we're going to have another excellent program. So just to reintroduce, a quick introduction, my name is Darren Bryan, also known as Brother Darren to some. So thank you all for joining. Once again, we are going strong, some 42 attendees so far. So just to quickly reiterate, we are going live on various social media platforms, the like of Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So I would implore one and all to be very mindful of what you say, how it comes across, and of course, just give a good portrayal of yourself, as I'm sure you all will. So once again, thank you all for attending. So without further ado, let's get straight into the actual program. So I'm just going to share my screen. By all means, if there's anyone who cannot see what I'm going to be presenting, please do let me know. Okay, so right now you should be seeing the first slide of my PowerPoint presentation. Anyone not seeing the slide right now? Okay, so I'm not hearing anybody saying no. Hi there, Teresa. Yeah.
Hi, I couldn't hear you. Did you introduce me? Sorry.
No, not yet.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Are you hearing? Have you heard anything I said in the last couple of minutes?
No, I didn't, but it's fine. I'm hearing you now.
No, it's important that I reiterate. So once again, I just introduced myself, Darren Bryan. I'll be hosting the show tonight. I did just advise one and all if they could just be very mindful of what is said, because this is going live onto the likes of Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I just pipe?
Sorry, who's trying to interject now?
That would be me, Darren.
Hey there, Charles.
How you doing?
No.
I was just going to expand on the point that Darren raised, just in relation to be mindful of what was said. On last week's Zoom, we kind of had an issue, a conversation around the vaccine and how it impacted people, etc. And what we weren't aware of, and even though we'd requested that the press do make themselves known to us on the platform, is that there were actually press on the platform, and there was a couple of comments made that effectively we had contacts from said media the following day and the day after, just asking us in relation to our views in the vaccine and things like that. And I think there was also another comment made right at the back end of the meeting, which although the point he was making was that it's dependent, it should be dependent on any one group to be reliant on another group. How it was put across wasn't as eloquent as that. And again, we were questioned about that. So what I'd advise everyone to do is just be mindful of the fact that this is an open forum and that people can and will be listening to what's being said. And this is a conversation that's open to everybody of all ethnic backgrounds. So I just need everyone to be conscious of the fact that there are potentially people listening to what's being said, and to be conscious of the fact that some of the things that may be said could be offensive to one group or another. So if people could just be mindful and ensure that any points they're put across are put across in a very eloquent fashion as not to offend. All right, sorry to expand on it that much, but I think it was quite important that everyone understood the reasons why. Yeah, sorry, Darren, I jumped it straight back to you.
No, that's perfectly fine. Even throughout the evening, we'll have to remind people as well, especially those who have been very steadfast in following us on these Wednesdays. So thank you again for reiterating that. Very, very important indeed. Okay. So, once again, welcome and salutations. I'm sure we'll have a few late stragglers coming on as we go, but that's perfectly fine. We welcome one and all. So let's look at the agenda for today. Quick introductions. We'll give us a quick state of play of where we are, what we are doing, and what we're currently looking to achieve. We'll do a quick volunteers and supporters section. And of course, without further ado, we'll also go into our guest speakers, known as Take Free Chefs. So that's going to be an absolutely excellent conversation right there. And if we somehow have any extra time, we'll do any other business. So if I could just kindly ask everyone to mute their mics. I don't want to really be that guy and mute everyone on purpose, but if you could all do that, just that way we can make sure we can all hear everyone and whomever is speaking. Thank you very much. So, introductions. So, just to reiterate, for those who's joining, all right, can hear a bit of feedback there. Allow me one moment, everyone. I'm just going to mute everyone. as we should all be muted as we come into the actual room. Yep, that's fine. Okay, so just to reiterate, my name's Darren Bryan. I will be hosting the meeting tonight. Thank you all for attending. We are some 62 strong, and I'm sure that will continue as it usually does throughout the night. So once again, please do mute yourselves unless you're actually coming on or have been invited to speak. Just a bit of housekeeping. Number one, if you do have any questions, please feel free to either put those into the actual virtual chat. If you would be so kind just to prefix that question with a Q, that being a Q for question. That way it will just make it easier for me to navigate when looking through said chat. Alternatively, feel free to raise your virtual hand. Or if you're not able to do that, please do raise your hand via your webcam, and I will do my best to make sure I get to you as well. And just to reiterate again, for those who are just, because now we are up to 65, just to reiterate, we are going live. So that means we are on various social media platforms, the likes of Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So once again, please do be mindful of what you say, how you come across, and obviously just represent yourself extremely well, which I'm sure you will do. Thank you. So, going out to our lovely members of the press, by all means, yes, this is a public forum, but it would be nice to know if you are present, please do announce yourself. So that is totally up to you. Last week, for some reason, somebody decided from the Daily Mail, is that right, Charles?
Yep. We had to send off solicitors' letters and everything to stop them running some of the stuff that was said on the forum. So just to be mindful of the impacts that it can have, because people are obviously watching and taking note. So yeah, just to re-emphasize that point, because we don't need the stress, we don't need the drama, we don't need the solicitors' bills. All right.
Indeed. So by all means, everyone, like I said, if you are members of the press, we welcome you. But by all means, please do play fair. Announce yourselves. We have nothing against you. We're not hiding anything. But like I said, that is your prerogative. We are here for the people. We are the people's voices. And if that's not good enough, well, we'll continue doing what we will do. So, with regards to Take the Initiative Party, every Wednesday we are doing food larders. We do also have a GoFundMe page, which I will put all these details up just before I go on to the next slide. Membership. That's what we're looking for. We need everyone on here who is interested, wants to be a part of this, to be on with us with regards to our membership. Once again, that link stroke URL will be in the chat very shortly. Please do sign up with us. If it isn't for you guys and gals out there, by all means, we're not going to achieve what we want to achieve. And that is having our voices heard in the UK. Once again, certain parties out there, you may feel they're not talking for you anymore. By all means, we are saying we are party to do what is required. What we are also looking for is local councillors to be elected in various constituencies, various boroughs, even various cities across the UK. So by all means, if you think you can do said job, please do get in contact with us. Once again, details will be forthcoming how to get in contact with us. So I'm going to put in...
Darren, can I expand on that point a little bit? Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So just to be clear, what we're looking for is we're looking for people that want to represent their community at local government level. Now, effectively, what that means is councillor roles within the local authority. So, if you can imagine, you've got various councillors that represent Croydon and Lewisham. What we're proposing is that we want to put up various bodies to represent the local council from TTIP. Now, as it stands at the moment, a lot of these avenues are blocked, largely because with Conservative or with Labour, you'd need to be a member for 5 years, etc., before you could even be considered for representing at local authority unless you run as an independent. So what we're doing is we're taking that barrier out because we feel that there's not enough representation of real people at councillor levels. So the thought process was that what we want to do is we want to basically find people who feel that they've got the ability to represent their local authority. And then the next stage would be that we will actually go to the expense of training them up as to what would be required for them to be a local councillor, with a view to then ultimately having them represent their people within their borough. So effectively, we'll be running the training courses. We're looking to start this programme in approximately 4 to 5 weeks. So if anyone feels that they could be a good representation as a local councillor or knows somebody who might be a good representation, I please encourage you at this stage to get in touch, because we can take a lot of the hoop jumping out, with a view to ultimately getting people into a position where they can represent their community, because we feel largely that a lot of people in the current communities aren't being represented by their local councillors and by their local MPs, and that is because of all these barriers that prevent that from happening. So as I said, our objective is to take those barriers away and make it a lot more accessible, so that when votes are being made that are impacting everyone of the community, that basically that we'll have people representing the real people of the community. So if everyone just takes note of that, and that's a very important point, and get in touch with us as soon as possible. And if you feel anyone else that might be strong in that department, then please kind of get in touch with them and get them to get in touch with us, because we definitely want to start rolling this out very quickly. All right, sorry, Darren, to interject. I just wanted to expand on it just to make it as clear as possible.
Not a problem. So that nicely fits in with the information I've just put into the chat there. So just to confirm, in respect of the helping with regard to the food larders, I've put in a link stroke URL, so you can also help us on the GoFundMe as well. Membership, there is a link there also, so you can go and see the tiers of the membership. I've also put in a link for a Survey Monkey questionnaire as well. Once again, 2-3 minutes at most. Just put in your details, very simple: name, address, what you're looking to achieve from TTIP, what you can also do for TTIP, and so forth. And also as well, in respect of the opportunities available in terms of how you can assist the actual roles on the actual homepage, if you scroll to the actual top right hand side of the page and hover over more, you will actually see the particular positions we are looking to get help from. And of course, that brings us nicely onto community heroes. So if you have anybody in your community who you think has been particularly brilliant in assisting said community, we are looking to hear from you, the public, on who that person is. So by all means, you can nominate them as per the link in the chat. That's the last link on the actual information I put there. Alternatively, once again, you can go to the link just above, and that will bring you onto the actual main homepage as well. So by all means, please do nominate any particular person in your community who you think has gone above and beyond. Please remember, we are pushing your points and your views. We are here for the people. We're not here to be career politicians. We are here to get things done in the UK for everyone who is concerned and really wants a better quality of life. Now, just to reiterate, because we have now jumped to some 70 people in the group. A few housekeeping rules. Apologies for none and all who's already heard it again, but once again, we will reiterate this as we go periodically throughout the meeting. Number one, we are live on various social media platforms, that being the likes of Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So please be mindful of what you say and how you come across. Make sure you are as concise and elegant where you can be. please be mindful. We do not give any form of hate speech on here. We do not, I would say, yes, we do not denigrate any groups on here. We are an open forum here for everyone, regardless of gender, race, nationality, and so forth. So once again, just be very mindful of what is said. And with that being said, by all means, onto the volunteers and supporters section. So once again, by all means, just please look into the chat. That's got all the necessary links in there for one and all to get in contact with us. As well, if you prefer, you can also send your information directly to our project manager. Her name is Amina. And as you can see now, her details are coming up on the screen. Granted, they're also in the actual chat as well. Just to help as well, please make sure on said email, you put down the subject matter of volunteers and supporters, your name, your email, telephone number or numbers, your particular skill set, and what you would like to assist TTIP with. Please know, no matter how small or how large you can assist us with, that we do not care. We just want your assistance. We want to hear your advice. We want to hear your input, no matter how small or how large. We welcome all. So those are just some of the roles we have on offer there. I think we may also have the more further updated list on our actual website as well. So please do utilize said links.
I'll just interject as well. I notice a lot of people have got their cameras off, and in this current COVID arena, this is probably some of the most interaction that people are going to get. So I would encourage people just to kind of make it a bit more human for everyone. If they're up for it and their hair's did and so on and so forth, to kind of put their cameras on, just to kind of make it a little bit real, so we can see who we're talking to, and a bit more interaction in the cyber world that we've recently joined. So if anyone's up for it and they've got their hair did and nails did and whatever it is they feel that they might need to have done in order to have their camera on or their hair cut, whatever it is, please, I encourage people to put their cameras on, just to make it a little bit more human. All right, but it's completely your own choice.
Very true, Charles. Very true. Please don't be afraid. We're not going to bite. We're not going to hound you or anything like that. We're all here for the same thing. Now, we've even reached up to 74 people. Just for the additional 4 who's joined, once again, apologies for it sounding like a broken record. We are live. We are on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So please do be mindful of what you say and how you portray yourself within this meeting. By all means, we want to come across as the best we can be. By all means, if there's anybody in here with a part of the media, please do feel free to announce yourself. Once again, we are not saying you shouldn't be here, but it's very nice if we know whom you are and where you're actually, or what particular media you are actually representing. So, without further ado, let's go on to our main host for the evening. We have Take 3 Chefs. Now, I do believe we are one light on the actual lineup. So, Teresa, if you're still with us, if you would be so kind just to unmute yourself and make everyone aware of whom you do actually have on your panel tonight, that would be absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to stop sharing my PowerPoint presentation now. Be all now back onto the main screen, showing one and all.
Can Can I just add to the introduction ever so slightly? All right. So Teresa and Take Three Chefs are effectively going to have a conversation today, just generally about eating healthy throughout lockdown, and the importance of it. What they'll do is they'll go through, have a presentation from each of them, and then ultimately talk a little bit about the healthy eating that they would encourage us to be doing in order to naturally build immune systems. And then it'll be opened up for questions at the end, where you guys can ask them questions about specific eating or specific foods and things like that. And I trust that they'll be fully qualified to give you all the information that you need as best they can. And yeah, that's it. Sorry, I just wanted to expand on it slightly, but I think it's a very fascinating and important subject, especially in light of where we are, because everything from your mental health and everything is all affected by what we eat. So I think it's important that we kind of have these conversations and make people as aware as we can.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Hi, should I go?
Yes, please, Teresa.
Okay. Thank you, Darren, and thank you, Take the Initiative Party, for inviting us tonight. We're really excited because we, as a team, the team of 5 of us, have come together to share our knowledge of food, healthy cooking food, and healthy ways using food to keep your body healthy. And in this pandemic time that we're in, the project came about because we realized we had over 90 years experience just in cooking alone, plus all the other sectors that we also come from. So I created the project and then prayed about it. I'm a very spiritual person, and 4 amazing team members joined me, and we've been working together now for over this whole period of COVID to develop our product. And our product is going to be a series of films showing how to cook cultural foods that we come from the Caribbean, but obviously we live in the UK. But we love our cultural foods, but sometimes we have habits of cooking them in an unhealthy way. So we've come together to really show how we can cook our cultural food and other kinds of food in a healthy way. And the 3 chefs are professional chefs, so they come fully qualified. And I'll introduce each person one by one. But first, I just wanted to introduce the project and a bit of the background. So coming from the Caribbean, we have a culture of families passing on the legacy of cooking. And I realized in the UK that that legacy was not being passed on. So that was the first really initiative impetus to start the project. And then seeing many people, family, friends, and colleagues getting ill and wondering what can be done about it. How can I share some of the knowledge that I'm aware of to help others? And then the project found a sort of life of its own. And the 3 chefs came along, and then Kevin, our film producer, came along. And we started to develop this beautiful synergy of values and care for the community. One of the most important things that we have is that we model what it is that we want to do for others. We're a great team. We work closely together. We respect each other. And in this lockdown, these things are really important to alleviate stress and to encourage each other and to empower each other to do what they can do in their gift and in their purpose. So that's a bit of the background to why the project was started. We also recognize that we have young people whose lifestyle is becoming very sedimentary, and the fact that they're not moving as much as they used to move, and their cortisols are getting very high with the game playing, and what can be done about that. So we looked at how we could help with that. And obviously people are putting on weight now, some people, because they're not doing as much movement as they used to do. So how can we mitigate some of those challenges with food and healthy cooking? What are the ways that we can cook food, tasty food, and make it healthy? And given the fact that we also have limited amount of space, some people, to grow their own food, what are the best choices of food that people should be making when they are buying food? So we come with a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge, and we're hoping people will ask us questions. But we would also like to say we're not qualified doctors. We don't give any medical advice, and we talk from our personal experience so that everybody who hears us knows that we've lived that whatever it is that we're talking about, and we're not giving medical advice. So come back on again and talk a bit more about the project. But for now, I'd like to go to the first chef, and I'd like to introduce Lyndon Wizard in the Inspired Diabetic as the first person on the team that I'd like to introduce to you.
Hi, good evening. Yes, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much, Taking Initiative Party, for having us on this evening. I'm one third of the Taking Initiative part of the Take Free Chefs. We all the T's in it today, all the T's. And I want to say thank you to Teresa for bringing us together, because I think this is a unique opportunity for the Take Free chefs and other chefs in the UK and around the world to come together and share our ideas of how we can eat healthier on a long-term basis. My journey, my story started when I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I'm of Jamaican descent. My parents are Jamaican. I was born in the UK. I was born in Hackney, and I was raised in Tottenham. And all my life, what I've found is that I was always eating not the healthiest food, but the nicest foods. So I was happy eating what I was eating. So the way my mother brought me up is in a good, positive way, with a positive mental attitude. So as a chef, as a young man, I was like the key holder of the house, because I was the first child to come home, because I'm the baby of the family. So my catering, my cooking started very young. So I would come home and have to cook something for myself before my brothers came home or my parents came home. So in that case, my passion for cooking started very early. But what happened to me, working in different establishments for over 30 years, I've worked in hotels, outside catering. I've also worked at the Savoy Hotel, illustrious places and for people as well. But I wasn't always eating healthy. My clients was eating healthy, but I wasn't at all times. So the reason why I put that down to is sometimes as a chef, we have to taste certain ingredients, maybe like a sauce, 5, 6, 7, 8 times before it reaches the table. So therefore, we're putting more carbohydrates into our system. So sometimes you see a big chef, you think it's a healthy chef, but it's not always the way. So in October 2015, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. If you know about diabetes, that's great. If you don't, I didn't when I was diagnosed. My HbA1c, and HbA1c is when they measure your blood glucose level for the last 3 months. Mine was 92, and it's supposed to be 41 and below, or 42 and below. They also done a pinprick blood glucose test on me, where they take some blood from your finger and they test that. And mine was 15.9, and the blood glucose level should be 5 and below. So I was in the danger zone. And the only reason why I know I was in the danger zone is when my doctor looked in my eyes, and the way he looked at me, I knew there's something wrong. And that frightened me. And they offered me, said to me, I'm diabetic. But at that time, I didn't even know what diabetes was. And the only 2 times I recollect about diabetes is, number one, is when I went to visit one of my mother's friends, and she was ill. And when she saw me, she says, Lyndon, the sugar get me. Yeah. And in the Caribbean, when they say the sugar get me, that means diabetes. It's like a death sentence. And the other time is when my cousin was type 1 diabetic, and he told me how he got diabetes. So in my situation, I became type 2 diabetes. Yeah. And when I became diabetic type 2, I asked my doctor, how did I become type 2 diabetic? And he said, through carbohydrates, your eating habits, pasta, rice, potatoes, your fizzy drinks, all the snacking that you're doing. And when I looked back on all the foods that I was eating, it was so true. And the foods that I was eating on a day-to-day basis was a continuation as a chef. From the time I left home to the time I went to bed at night, from bread, pasta, rice, fizzy drinks, snacking, all these kinds of things. And when I was offered medication to reverse my type 2 diabetes, I said, what the medication for? It's helped to reduce the blood sugars. But all my life, I've never been on any prescribed medication. So what I decided to do is ask my doctor, can I just try without medication? And they said, yeah, let's try without medication. I'll give you an opportunity for 3 weeks. And within 3 weeks, I reversed my HbA1c from 92 down to 77. And with another 28 days, I went from 77 down to 60. And in a total of 105 days, I went down to 41. So I went back down to the threshold of where in recovery, in remission, or whatever they want to call it. But I was back to normal. And a lot of people ask me, what did it take? And to summarize what it took me to do to reverse my type 2 diabetes in 105 days was 4 simple things. It was my mindset, my diet, physical activity, and intermittently fasting. I was overweight at the time when I was diagnosed. And I knew that I was overweight when my mother said to me, Lyndon, your belly will get big. Yeah, my mother's Jamaican. So my mother said, Lyndon, your belly will get big. So I didn't realize I was putting on weight, but it was there. So that's the overall picture of me, what I've done. I've written the book, The Inspired Diabetic, a journey of how I reversed my type 2 diabetes. And with the help of Teresa now, bringing the 3 chefs together, what I do, I've done some videos on how to eat healthier for diabetics. Yeah, so eating...
Sorry, Lyndon, sorry to cut you, but we had a conversation, and I think it's probably relevant that you just explain to people what it was that led to the diabetes, because when you talk through your daily habit, it was very much something that I could relate to. And I think other people will, so I think it's important probably just to bring that part in.
Okay, I would do that. I thought I'd cut it short, that's why I didn't go there.
No. I think it's important that people hear the story, because we all do it and we don't realise, and I think that's the relevant point.
Okay, to simplify it, I don't live in London, so I lived outside London. So in the mornings, I had to leave work. I had to leave home early to get to work. So I had to leave around 6 o'clock or maybe 5:30 to get to work. So I could, number one, find a parking space, and number two, be on time. So my morning breakfast for my journey to work, I'd have 3 slices of hard dough bread, which is the West Indian bread, which is sweet. I'll put butter on it, and then I'll put jam on it. And I'll take a bite out of it. And if I didn't feel there's enough jam on it, I'll put more jam on it. And also what I do, I'd have a cup of coffee, which is a latte sachet one. So I have a latte, and that's got processed milk, powder in it, and it's got sugar in it already. So it's already sweet. But I had this thing about putting 3 to 4 teaspoons of Demerara sugar in it. Why Demerara sugar? Brown sugar is supposed to be more healthier for you. So that's what I'll do. And also, during the summertime, I'd always get a cold for some reason. My nose was itching, my throat was itching, and my eyes was running. And I told one of my friends, why do I always get a cold in the summertime? And he said, Lyndon, you've got hay fever. I said, what, hay fever? He said, yeah, you got hay fever. So I was in denial about it. So how do you cure something? You find out what's the cause of it. So how to cure hay fever was to find honey from the local area where you lived. So where I lived in the country, there's lots of farms where I live. Yeah, so I'd go to the farm shop and I'd buy a small jar of honey with a massive price on it. Yeah, and I think to myself, how long can I be buying this expensive honey for? So it's deteriorating my income, my money. So I decided to get the bigger bottle with a smaller price. So when I've done that, I started to put honey into my coffee as well in the mornings. Yeah, put honey into my coffee. And from there, once I got to work, I was working in the pastry section. And on the pastry section, we'd be cutting cakes every day. So all the cakes had to be the same portion. So we'd cut out the trimmings, put the trimmings in a bowl, and I would eat it. And I said, listen, guys, this is my area, my zone, don't touch these. So somebody said to you, do you want a cup of tea, do you want a coffee? I said, yeah, okay, I'll have another coffee. So I'll have my coffee, I'll put my 3 teaspoons of sugar in it and my honey in it as well, and then I'll be eating the cakes. This is when I got to work in the morning. Lunchtime comes, we're going to have like a carbohydrate, a pasta, rice, potato, or a fizzy drink, and some meats or something like that at lunchtime as well. So that's another intake. After lunch, about 2:30, we'll have a tea break. And at a tea break, I'll be still chewing my cake, and I'll have some biscuits and my coffee as well. Same 3 teaspoons of sugar, same honey as well as at that time. When I finished work about 4 or 5 o'clock, sometimes it's going to take me about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get home. So what I'd normally do, I'll go and get a 3-meal deal from the shop. It would always be a BLT sandwich, bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich. I had an addiction for that. And it would come with a fizzy drink or a chocolate bar. And that's what I would always have. So I'd have that in my car on my way home. And sometimes I'm driving and I can hear this noise in the back of my car, ching, ching. And I thought to myself, what's that noise? So I'd open up the boot of my car and I had cases of J2O in there. And the reason why I had cases of J2O in it, because I had an addiction to J2O drink. The reason being, I used to go out with my friends to the clubs, the pubs, and all these places. But I never drank alcohol, so I used to find a fizzy drink. But when you're paying £2.50 for a bottle, yeah, and when you go to the cash and carry, it's £5.20 for a case. It makes logical sense to buy a case, 2 cases. So this is what I had. So the psychological thing about what I went through when I analysed it, I take a bottle from the booth and I drink one there and then, yeah? And then what I do, I take another bottle and put it in the car with me for my journey home with the rest of my drinks, my other drinks and my free meal deal. When I got home now, I know a lot of you guys or your partners, you're going to make a meal for yourself, yeah? Your partner's made a meal and they said, oh, Linda, you're going to eat now. I said, what? I've been eating all day, I'm not hungry. And your partner said to you, is there something wrong with my meal? You know, I said, no. So you're going to eat again. So it's going to be pasta, rice, potato, and a meat dish, yeah? It's especially my household. And on my table, I'll have my 2 favorite drinks, my ginger beer and my mango juice, yeah? On the table, ready for me. So what I do then, after I've eaten my wife's food, I'll be sitting on the sofa, turn the TV on to watch football. But guys, you know what it's like. We don't watch football. We've gone to sleep. We're out. You know, after eating all that food. So we're out. Your wife comes along, knocks you up, wake up to go to bed. So I said, okay, I'm coming up. So she goes up to bed. I go into the kitchen. I make myself a cup of tea. And what do? I open a cupboard. 3 biscuits, digestive biscuits, sitting on the sofa. I'll go and get a couple more. Next thing you know, I've taken a packet and I've eaten the packet before I go to bed. Yeah? And the only reason I normally tell people this story, like Charles was saying, yeah, is that I was doing events and there's guys that would come up to me and say, Lyndon, you know, I've been doing exactly the same as you. I've been going through the same thing as you. So I thought to myself, wow, I thought I was the only one. I just think even sometimes after we've had a meal, yeah, we have a chocolate bar or we have a couple of sweets and you don't know why. So I had all the symptoms of diabetes, type 2 diabetes. Yeah, I had my blurred vision. Yeah, I was overweight. I was always thirsty. I was always drinking. I had pins and needles in my fingers and toes. Yeah, I was always hungry as well. And also being hungry, I was always tired as well. That's another symptom also. But I didn't mind the tiredness because I like sleeping. And just another one of them is one of the other symptoms is a slow healing of cuts. So when I was in the kitchen, I used to chop cucumbers and fridge, chop, really fast. But when I found out when I was diabetic about slow healing of cuts, I went slower. Because if I cut myself, I have an opportunity of having to put plaster on my hand or I'll have to go home because the cut won't heal. You know, so that's an outline of my story. So what I've been doing now is doing menus and introducing meals that incorporate certain foods that helps reduces the blood sugars, low calorie foods as well. But it takes discipline. It starts with a mindset. Can you do it? And just to finish off, a lot of the question that people ask me, how and why did I do it in 105 days? Let me simplify it. Number one, I've never been on any medication. So somebody told me if you go on medication, there are side effects to it. So that it will harm your body. So I thought to myself, I've never been on anything. I'm not going to take anything. So, and the other thing is that when you're self-employed and you're ill, you can't work, that affects you and the family. It's detrimental to your health and to your family. So I was a self-employed chef. So I had to make sure I was ill. Yeah. So I'm just going to put a disclaimer out there today. I'm not a medical person. If anything that you hear what I say about, contact your doctor or your GP or dietitian before you do anything. Yeah, because I did. Yeah, and that's very, very important, you know, to understand, because when you're going to reverse your type 2 diabetes at the level I was, it's a change, it's a body change, it's a mindset change, and you've got to be ready for it. But you know something? The reward is brilliant. After you've gone back to normal, the body, you feel you got so much energy, you got so much time, your family life is so much better. And it's amazing. It's amazing. So, like I said in my front of my book, type 2 diabetes isn't a life sentence. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. So that's a bit about me. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lyndon. That's really great. And I hope everybody has the recognition of the journey that you've taken to and from where you've been and where you are now. I have lots of stories about my ill health around sugar, and I'd love to share as we go through the discussion tonight. I've been battling sugar addiction for 20 years. And just before I pass on to the next chef, I asked my father while he was alive, why do I like sugar so much? And he said, when he was a baby, we used to rinse the sugar, the Nestle's milk can, with water and put it in your bottle. So I have a very long history with sugar, and I'm still struggling with it. But I'm winning with these three chefs. So without no further ado, I'd like to go on to our film producer before I go to the next chef. Kevin is our film producer, and he will talk a bit about what we aim to do around the film. Go ahead, Kevin, your mic is on.
Right. I just put my mic on. Yeah, my name's Kevin Ellis. I've been brought in by Teresa on this great project to basically help out on the filming side, because it's very important that we eat healthily. And the chefs are really great chefs, and they, within the food, it's good for everything. If you can really eat healthily, it'll affect everything you do within your life, your day-to-day life. So I've come in because I think it's an excellent project, and I really want to be part of it. My background is film and music, so I'm part of a group called Sahara, which we had a few hits many years ago. But music is also like therapy as well. So music is really good for you as well. So if you're at home as well, to keep your mind, body, and everything healthy, music is great. Put some music on, because we're all in this lockdown situation at the moment. So put some music on and dance around the living room. But also with that, you've got to it's a lifestyle thing. So food is very important. If you can, I know it's not easy at the moment. It's always good to communicate with people as well. If you can, just give someone a call, and that helps you through the day. If you have to, we're all under a lot of pressure at the moment. So that's very helpful as well. But with the chefs as well, the three chefs are really amazing. So they will go through all the health benefits that the food can really give you, So, so that's me. I'm the film and music person. So I'll hand you back.
Thank you, Kevin. That's great. And we will talk more about how the beneficial music can relax you, and especially when you do meditation. Now, we have a chef that's not able to make it tonight, Kevin. Kevin is our chef to do with vegan and vegetarianism, and he works primarily with the youth. But just to talk a bit about the youth, and while Kevin is not here, to explain, when we're going through transitions in life, we have a need for healthy food, because our body is in what we call a transitional mode. And so to calm down the internal environment, healthy food, it plays a big, important part, especially with teenagers. They're going for a lot of body changes. And if we can set them up with really good habits when they're young, they will have a lifetime of better health. So Kevin is spearheading that bit of the project, talking to young people about the value of good food habits while they're young, and cooking, not buying processed food, and understanding how food is grown is a part of the project as well, and why the soil is important, and what happens to food when it's in your gut biome. And part of the project is really trying to reach out to all ages of the food journey in a family, but each chef talks to one particular part, and combined together, we cover all the ages of a family. So I'm going to ask Chef Richard to come on now. He runs Coming Up, which is a restaurant chain. Richard, are you on? Can you come on?
Yeah.
Hi. Okay. Please introduce yourself, Richard.
Hi, good evening, guys. Good evening. Let me first say, because I'm often called chef, and not to be disrespectful to my two colleagues, I'm not a trained chef. And I say that because I have absolute respect for anyone who operates in any professional capacity and has to go through basic schooling, further education, and that's, so, and then they, as chef, they might even come out with teaching skills. So I'll say that first. So they can chop things at 100 miles an hour. I'll just stick to 50. And I'll also say, as far as the sugar aspect is concerned, I gave up sugar when I was 11, so that's one better. But I took my glasses off a minute ago when Lyndon was speaking about blurred vision, and I thought, I better go and check my sugar levels because my vision's not 100%. So 1 out of 2 perhaps isn't so bad. So right, so to introduce what I do, as Teresa said, I'm really thankful to be working with these guys because they are they have the areas of excellence and they're upright characters and they excel in what they do in their specific fields, and we all bring something to the table. Now, my background's business. I mean, I'm in it for the business. But along the way, the first thing I did, and this was 30 years ago, so coming up, a Caribbean takeaway restaurant and caterers are 30 years old this year. We started June the 1st, 1991. So with that, the first thing I did, going further to what I was saying about educating yourself, I put myself in Croydon College, and I make that link with taking the initiative party. I put myself in Croydon College evening classes 2 times a week, and I put myself on the wasn't the intermediate, it was the what's the next one? Basic, intermediate. Help me here, Lynn. Basic, intermediate, and advanced. I think it was advanced. But I put myself on the advanced course, the same at which the environmental health officers would go on, because I said I don't need any examination. I don't need to take an examination. I don't need the paperwork. But what I do need is knowledge of what I'm doing. Otherwise, potentially, I could poison hundreds of people. And I'll just say this quickly, where Kevin Ellis didn't mention of himself, and I'll say this, because we're into filming, and to exemplify this, we require and operate a very high level of professionalism. Now, I will say this, and this is my outlook on life. And again, this is why I'm so pleased that this group is of such high integrity and I like to be involved, because we brought in Kevin Ellis because he knows what he's doing. And then he can give us the best opportunity to project our skills to the wider audience because it's all on film media. So, with that, it helps us just reach that pinnacle. And it further adds to my point in that, particularly of somebody of Caribbean origin, born here, I give our own the best opportunity, but there is the first opportunity in everything I do. But I will never compromise my standard. And I expect everyone who works with me to be at least where I am and better, higher, so I can learn from them. So I think that's very important. And I can see that in taking the initiative party, because Charles and I have spoken, and there'll be courses set up for the councillors and whatever else to get them to that point of excellence, where they can truly represent themselves well, as I've heard it before, but they know how to operate in that sphere, because any new sphere is daunting. Anything we take on for the first time is daunting. But, pre-armed, forewarned, if you take the time out and go and train yourself into what you're going to do, it will flow. You'll flow. Everything you have to say will be tapped into, obviously, your personal experience, but your delivery will be that much better because you'll be polished. So I really appreciate the foresight that Charles has and taking the initiative party has. But going back to me, I own Coming Up, as I said, and Coming Up is a small chain. We've got an outlet in Brighton. We've got one in Lewisham Shopping Centre. We've got the original one in New Cross Gate. And we also have one in Catford. We've had stores in Sydenham. We've had stores in Greenwich. We've had a store in Peckham. It's all been South London. And we've moved with the times, but the focus has always been traditional food. And I think that's what I lent to the group. It's highly practical, less theorized, but I do have a knowledge of, as a result, of food combination of flavors and outcomes. So we're speaking of now looking at our curry goat, chicken dishes, and cutting out fat content, reducing sodium content, and still working on the flavors, because we've got such a rich garden in our culture of just herbs and things that offer sodium. So, for example, you can use celery as an ingredient that has a higher sodium content, or should I say a more salty taste, but a low sodium content. So you can use things like that in your soups and the rest, if you don't already, to kind of give in that additional flavor. Because at the end of the day, no matter what is said, if it not tastes good, it not good. Bottom line, if it doesn't have taste, we're not interested. So again, that's that I feel I lent to the group. Just lots of practical experience. I am a hands-on individual. There are a couple of videos I've recently finished, and I've thrown out there on YouTube as well. And it's just a blessing. It's just a blessing to be with you guys. And I should say, Charles, since this Zoom meeting started, I've signed up and I'm a premium member. And so therefore I'm saying that because everyone else can do it as well. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you, Richard. That was really amazing. Thank you for the sharing in the chat about the sugar. I am able now to do without sugar, but what I had to recognize that it was an emotional connection to sugar, and it wasn't a physical connection. And this is part of what we're doing with Take 3 Chef. We're looking at all sides of someone's health, not just what they're going to put in their mouth, but we're also looking at how it's grown, what's in the food, what are the states that you should be in when you're eating. Like, as a child growing up in the UK, we had a ritual around food, and most people who are from the Caribbean will recognize it. It's a Sunday dinner, a massive dinner with everything, starters, dessert, we have a healthy drink, and we have a very big, nutritious meal. And then it progressed from there every single day, home-cooked food. And then on a Friday in my family, it was home-baked, sweet potato pudding or cornmeal pudding, something that was home-baked. We never, ever had a packet of biscuits bought from the shop. And when I realized that what was happening to our generation, the young ones, is that all that tradition was going to be lost, the project came about. And with our culture of using herbs and using spices, we have a very good, what we call a gut biome. Now, we get our gut biome, just to dig a little bit deeper, from our mothers as we come out through the birthing canal. Some people are not coming out that way now. So we have some issues going on with how is that biome going to be passed on. The medical field have got some ideas about it, but to be aware of that. So we're passed on historically the gut biome through being birthed by our mothers. And if we don't get birthed by our mothers, we have a challenge with that. So all of this information is available. So what we're doing is bringing it all together and being a place to come to understand how to cook food, how to understand what food does for us, and what kinds of things we want to do around food security. We have a growing project that's going to be food growing, and we have a health and well-being component to it as well. But one of the issues that Lyndon touched on is about habit. Even if you have a good goal and you set it and you want to do it and you've thrown everything out of your home, if you haven't created the habit of health and well-being, you will go back to the original habit. And this is a battle that people have, they call it yo-go dieting. But if your body is fed with nutritious food, it is less hungry and less craving. So this affects the way your brain is, affects the way your relationship between the gut and the brain, and it also affects your personality. So there's lots of areas of issues that we try to cover. And the project is very extensive. And as Lyndon said, we're happy to have people who would like to come and join us. We're looking for families who want to learn, and we're also looking for people who want to sponsor us. Our website is called take3chefs.com, and we'll put it in the chat. We've got a campaign for sponsorship so that we can get these films done and get them out as quick as possible, so we can be contributing to a positive outcome for the people in the community in this time of pandemic. The stress level is very high, the mental health is very high, and we have some contributions that is positive, that we can help. And, you know, for now, I will leave it there, and I'm sure Darren will come on now and we'll be ready for questions. But thank you all for hearing us so far, and we're open for questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, brothers, also as well. Absolutely brilliant there. Wealth of information. And I'm sure we've got a lot coming on there. Charles, go for it.
Can I ask the first question? So Lyndon, just in relation to, because you mentioned what you ate prior to obviously getting the diabetes, can you now give us an example of what your day consists of in relation to now that you're clear of the diabetes, but how your diet looks now and what you've changed and why you've changed it?
What my diet consists of now is a lot of foods which are not carbohydrates. Once upon a time, I used to eat pasta, rice, potatoes every day. It was a norm. Some days, for certain weeks, I don't eat pasta, rice, or potatoes because they're high in carbohydrates. One of the things I have every day, I make a drink, okra water drink, okra water with chlorella. It's my own personal combination of a drink to help with my blood sugars. Because even though I've gone back to normal, I am not perfect in that sense. So I still have a biscuit here, I still have chocolate here. But the chocolate I like is dark chocolate though, yeah? And dark chocolate is a flavonoid food, yeah? So if I take you back, Charles, to when I started to reverse my diabetes, which is probably more helpful, yeah, is what I started to eat, yeah, is foods like flavonoid foods. Foods like tomatoes, berries, nuts, grapefruit, romaine lettuce, peppers, red onions. These are just some of the things. And what I started to do is find a list of foods that I enjoyed eating, yeah, because it came to the stage where I used to love my full English breakfast, you know, especially when you're a chef, you know, and you come to the weekend after long weeks. Boy, Saturday morning, I'm going to have a full English breakfast. Sausage, bacon, tomatoes, beans, the lot. And I love it, you know what I'm saying? But the thing about it, I said to myself, okay, I need to cut out the meat. So I started to cut out bacon. So I started to replace the bacon with grilled chicken. But I didn't like grilled chicken in the morning. And then what I went on to smoked turkey. And I didn't like smoked turkey. So I just got to the stage where I just stopped eating meat for a period of time, because even with red meat, what I found from my personal body, it would make me feel tired. It would make me feel bloated. So I had to get rid of the foods that would make me feel a certain way. And this is one of the things. So a lot of the things I started to do, I kept it very, very simple in the beginning. Very, very simple with regarding my foods. I changed my rice to quinoa. I would. I'll have chickpeas instead of rice sometimes. You know, I've even done cauliflower rice. You know, there's a big thing about cauliflower rice. And when you hear them doing, what's cauliflower rice? You think it's something special. And when you go and find out how they make cauliflower, it's just cauliflower grated. But the question is, how do you make cauliflower rice? Number one, taste nice and to look like it's rice. Yeah. So this is what I'm doing with the Take 3 chefs now, is using ingredients, yeah, to make it taste nice. It's like, Charles, if you gave me a list of ingredients that you like, yeah, but you don't know how to create something with it, this is what we're going to do with you. Yes, give us a list of things that you like. That's the first thing. Because one thing you don't want to do, you don't want to start having okra, for example. I've got a bottle here, yeah? This is okra water with bitter gourd, chlorella. Yeah, okay? And with the okra and the chlorella, it tastes bitter. You won't know, but it helps with the blood sugars. The number one thing that I found in myself, how do I give it flavour? Number one, infuse it with fresh mint, celery, cucumber. You can even use the water and blend it down with like your blueberries or apples. If you want to go to apple, a Granny Smith apple or a banana or strawberry. There's things that we can do to help you create a meal that's going to help you reduce your blood sugars naturally. Yeah, so we have a list of those foods that we can incorporate into foods. And the thing about it, I've done foods for my daughter, who's 17, and she doesn't even know that's in there. But it's going to help them, given it's nutritional. Yeah, vitamins and minerals are in these foods. Yeah, it's like even moringa. You put moringa into a juice, you don't even know it's there. Yeah, and the moringa's got full nutrients, vitamins, and lots of iron, zinc, all these kind of things. So the foods that I eat now is very, I don't eat like I used to eat. It's really weird. I wake up in the morning, I have my drink, I have like a 250ml bottle of lemon water. I normally drink that in room temperature. It's got lemon in it, ginger in it, garlic in it. It's got lime in it as well, cinnamon, cayenne pepper, because all these things help with a fatty liver. And especially like if you're in lockdown now and you're at home all day, you're going to tend to pick. And this is normal. Don't get me wrong. This is normal. This is the habit. So what I'm saying, in the mornings, instead of having a full meal, you can detox the body with lemon water. Lemon water and lime water. If you want to take it further, I'll put some cayenne pepper in it. And with the exercise, I'll do something at home that even in your chair, do some exercise, move your body, get something going, because get your heart moving, pumping and circulating. It's like the analogy that I like to use is when you see a lion waking up, he doesn't just get up and run, does he? He gets up and he yawns and he stretches. So because we're in a lockdown situation now, we're home a lot every day, what I tend to do is get up and I stretch out. So it opens up the body and it gives your body energy to get ready to do what you want to do. And also it helps your mind clear as well. It does. So there's lots of foods that you can eat to help with the mind as well. Broccoli, cauliflower, almond nuts, walnuts. These things, if we have them on a regular basis, it's going to help you and give you energy, especially with greens as well. A lot of green stuff. I remember when I was younger, my mum always used to callaloo. Yeah, callaloo, green. It's like cabbage, spinach. I used to hate it, but the way she used to make it, it tastes nice. So you're eating something that's going to give you the nutrients that you want and the protein that you want as well. Yeah, but it tastes nice. So this is what we're going to do. And this is what we're doing. We're helping people to have a nutritious meal that tastes nice as well at the same time.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Lyndon. Just a few housekeeping rules as we go to the Q&A. Number one, if you are a member of the press, as we are now going into the Q&A, please do announce yourself via the chat. That would be truly appreciated. For those who have been kind enough to put a Q in front of your question within the chat, please continue to do so. So I'll be looking at those who have actually put a Q in front of their, or raised a question in the chat. And then by all means, you can either let me say your question, or alternatively, I'll ask you to unmute yourself and you can verbally advise. And also, by all means, as people have already started doing, you can either raise your digital hand via the chat, or just raise your virtual hand, and I'll do my best to make sure I do capture you via the webcam. So, with that being said, can we go to Julia Davidson? If you'd like to unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Thank you, Chair. My question to Lyndon Wishart, but I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Teresa Hatchett and Richard Simpson for giving us a quite broad depth knowledge of how to eat better culturally and just be fit for purpose in the kitchen. My question is, my father's 98, he's also diabetic type 2. Obviously, when he was diagnosed with that, I did not have him sign up to have insulin to combat the diabetes issue. What I actually did was substitute his eating patterns to a more healthy, what I call alternative supplement of food. So I cut out all what I call the starch and introduced, where you mentioned callaloo. Callaloo is a mainstay in our house, but I introduced cabbage, kale, okra, broad beans and things like that. And then to get the additional injection of spice, turmeric became my best friend, or turmeric. The other thing that I used was for a sweetener, I use cinnamon, and that goes into all my dad's drinks, including mine. Even now, as I sit here, I've got a cinnamon drink, and cut out all the sugar. We've not had sugar in this house for quite some time. But what I would say is, in terms of, as you can see, I'm not a small lady, and we still are drawn to banana pudding, cornmeal porridge of a morning, and we do things with Irish moss. Can you give me an alternative that will still make us go, and still give an injection of what my dad loves, including me? And that can go to Lyndon, please, and possibly picked up by Richard Simpson afterwards. Thank you.
Julia, you just mentioned cinnamon. That's one of my favorites. That's one of the first things I went for. You know, because I love the smell of cinnamon. I love the taste of cinnamon. And would you believe it? Cinnamon helps reduce the blood sugars naturally as well. So once you understand what these foods do, and the good thing about it, you know what it is, you taste it, you smell it, and you enjoy it. So, and you're eating, ingesting it as well, and it's doing good for you as well. You know, with your dad, as such, you're doing very well with him, because some people at that age, they're very stubborn on what they're going to eat, because they've gone through their life eating certain things. And if your child tells you what you're going to choose to eat, and I say, you're talking to me? You're talking to me? Me not eat that. You know, we know my food. You know? So this is what I get. Even my mother now, my mother's doing the okra water. She's doing the bitter gourd water. I've given her the cinnamon. I'm doing the callaloo, the greens for her now, because she's been doing all the time. It's so funny. I was with my mother not too long ago, and I had to cook for her. And she's looking at me like, you know what you're doing? You know? I said, what? What are you doing? You know, Linda, you know what you're doing? It was so funny. It's so funny. I said, Mom, yeah, I do, you know. And then the thing about it, Julia, is when my mom tasted my food, yeah, and she looked at me and she's giving that smile. Not that nice, you know. Not that nice, you know. So that is it. So we can help our elders to improve their health by eating, but we just got to know what they like, the flavors they like, and incorporate it. Yeah, incorporate it. And it's a period of time that you take when you want to reverse your blood glucose level. Your palate will change. It's like Richard hadn't had sugar for all those years. I take my after to Richard, you know, because even now I still have a sweet tooth, but I know how to discipline my sweet tooth. I know how to discipline it, which is so hard sometimes. I tell people, but you have to put yourself in a frame of mind of, can I do it or what do I do? So, for example, if you are type 2 diabetic now, and you know what your HbA1c level is, your number is, or your percentages, you need to have a goal. Yeah, to say, okay, in a month's time, I want to drop it down to 90, for example. Yeah, you have to have a contingency plan to work towards. And by working towards that, you need to cut down on your pasta, your rice, and your potatoes, and find alternatives. You know, the alternative to spaghetti that I found was spelt spaghetti, another form of wheat, spelt spaghetti, and it's awesome. It really is spelt, S-P-E-L-T, spelt. You could get that in the shops, in the health shops. You know, but it's how do you make it taste nice? What oils do you want to use? Olive oil, sesame oil, nut oils, you know, avocado oil. You know, what salt do you want to use? You know, think about it. Himalayan salt is a good salt to use. Yeah, a quality salt, Himalayan. So all these sort of things you can still do yourself, but it's knowing how to do it. So this is why we Take 3 chefs now. We're gonna do ingredients and stuff with the Take Initiative Party to help the community, not just in the UK but around the world, and show them what we can do to change levels. And one of the things about the Caribbean foods, let me clarify something for the Caribbean foods now. My mother's Jamaican, so every day it's pasta, rice, potatoes, rice and peas. You know, once upon a time it used to be curry goat or stewed chicken on a Sunday. Stewed chicken is like nearly every day now. you know, it's not once a week now. It's like every day. Rice and peas like every day. So what I'm saying to people in the community, today you can have the rice, don't have the pasta, don't have the potatoes. Tomorrow, don't have the rice, have the potato, don't have the pasta. Break your days up. Yeah, and have your portions in moderation, smaller portions. Have smaller portions, which is so important. So don't mix your carbs. Keep them separate on different days if you want to do that, but have them in smaller portions. Yeah, because sometimes what we say, your eye's too big for your belly. Yeah, your eye's too big for your belly, and we have this analogy because you go to a wedding or you see a buffet, you say, "Boy, I'm gonna fill it up tonight," you know. That's how you're gonna fill up your stomach tonight. But no, be disciplined, because sometimes you go to an event, they say anybody wants to come for seconds. Yeah, but you don't have to. But there's always plenty of food there. Always plenty of food. So it's about discipline and control. And we can help you do that. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. This is why I still do talks like this on this journey, because I found it hard to find someone who's done what I've done with their type 2 diabetes in 105 days. You know, if you're out there, please contact me. Let's talk. Because we need more people like myself, yeah, to inspire other people to do what I've done. We really do. And that's when the change is going to come. That's when the change is going to come.
Great.
Excellent.
Yeah, could I just pick up there, as I was invited just to comment quickly, just to touch on one point Lyndon mentioned, spelt is absolute excellent, but and I know he knows this, it was a slip of the tongue, but it's another grain, all right? It's not wheat. Wheat is wheat.
Yeah,
and
sorry,
spelt is another grain, just like rye, and there are other grains you can use. For the pancreas as well, sweet potato is a valid option. Sweet potato helps the pancreas along. And finally, the Irish moss, or otherwise known as sea moss, or as the Irish call it, carrageenan. Now, I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to these things. I read labels. So I noticed HP Sauce use Irish moss as their thickener. Carrageenan, they use it as their thickener. So if we're going to, and for the Dr. Sebi's, from those of the Dr. Sebi school, Irish moss has 92 of the 102 minerals that the body requires. Excellent food. But I always, and if you're from, again, a Caribbean background, the sea moss or the Irish moss, if you're Jamaican, we normally make it with milk, and we normally put condensed milk in it as well. Drop those options, and just to come back to what you were saying, you can make it as an ITAL version, as I do. So you can put your spices in it, your nutmeg and your cinnamon particularly, but you don't put any milk. What you do, if you need to sweeten it slightly, you could put a couple of raisins and blend it down, or you can use agave. Right now, agave is found mainly in Mexico, Peru area, Southern America, and it's from a huge cactus. And it's the sugar they use for that. Is it Quattro? No. One of these Latin American alcoholic drinks. It's the sweetener they use to make that. So agave, again, alkalinic. If you're in the Dr. Sebi mode, excellent sweetener. Agave, AGAVE. Yeah, and they sell it online, obviously. But my tip: if you're near a Costco do 2 750 milliliter containers. That's 1.5 liters for approximately £7. All right, that's the cheapest I've found it at the moment. So agave, use your agave as your sweetener. Put all your cinnamon and the rest in it, and leave out the milk. Because again, from the Dr. Sebi aspect, milk helps produce mucus. Mucus attacks the bodies and manifests itself in the joints and everywhere else. You also mentioned turmeric. The active ingredient in turmeric is curcumin. Now, curcumin is not so bioavailable. The body finds it hard to process. So what we do is you add a pinch of black pepper when using turmeric. A pinch of black pepper makes it 2,000 times more bioavailable. It's 2,000 times more easier for the body to take the active ingredient out of the turmeric. So there's a couple of tips.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that there. Okay, so we have a few more questions there. I'm going to give everybody the chance to actually unmute themselves to ask their said questions. If we could go to one Tawny, if you could unmute yourself and ask your question. I'll give you a few moments there.
Hello? Sorry, you wanted me to unmute for... Sorry? I didn't hear.
And ask your question.
I didn't have a question.
Did you not put a question in the chat?
Oh, I thought Teresa had already answered it.
Okay, well, if that's fine. No, that's fine. We'll move on to the next person then. Thank you. Brian, if you would like to unmute yourself, sir, and ask your question.
Yeah, oh gosh, lots of my questions, but anyway, I'll freestyle it. Yeah, basically, with the chefs, have you got recipes online, right, where you can go to people who's got diabetes? I've got diabetes type 2, and I'm very, very bad when it comes down to eating. I've just had a pasta and salmon things just a while ago, and I'm trying to get discipline. I need a regime. But I'm into taste. When I cook, I don't look at myself as a chef. I look at myself as a gourmet. But carry on.
Could I just say one point? As someone who goes raw every so often, so I intermittent fast, as Lyndon mentioned, but try. You say you're gourmet, work on your salads, right? You can be so imaginative with salads, dressings, finely chopped coriander, for example. That'll lift a salad. Don't use iceberg lettuce. There's nothing in it. It's all water. There's nothing in it. Look at the other lettuces, and I say this because my father was an avid gardener. We had 24 chickens, 2 turkeys. We had lots of chicken manure in the backyard. That was in England here, in South London. And my father grew that's how I know about cos lettuce, web lettuce, little gems. We grew all of that. We always had a bunch. If you can't get callaloo, rather than use the tin, go and buy fresh spinach. All the supermarkets have it, Aldi, the rest of the baby leaf. And again, I'll say, anything you can get in this baby stage is more potent. It's more potent, rather. That's barley grass, because they have barley grass in a powdered form. They have wheatgrass. So if you notice, I'm only saying it because the grasses, but they're only 2-3 weeks old. But that's when they're potent. The first shot of barley grass I was given, right, which was a thimbleful. I took it, and it was in New York. And my cousin gave it to me. And I drank it, and I felt drunk. And I was stumbling around, and he said, "Drink the water, man, drink the water." I said, "Which water?" He said, "We put the water up on the table." And so I drank the water, and then I came back to myself. So all of these things, if they're young, if you have a particular ailment, we can't get it here. But if you have any ailments at all, and you can get baby jelly coconut, not the mature one here, baby jelly coconut, that will handle anything. Alkalize the body in an instant and attack liver issues, kidney issues, baby coconut, right? So just that one aspect. Gourmet, work with your salads, work with your different lettuces, yeah? Work with your spring onion, the green part of it.
Red onion.
Work with your sprinkling of sesame seeds, yeah? Work with your, again, as Lyndon mentioned, work with your almond nuts, work with your walnuts. Just be a little bit more imaginative. Use, again, going back to the Dr. Sebi, use plum or cherry tomatoes. Those are the better ones, yeah? Because sometimes the seeds and the rest we have particular allergies that can affect us. So we scrape the seeds out of the tomato and use it. High zinc content, yeah? So work with the different, I mean, I've seen tomatoes in orange, ripe ones in green. It's all different sizes. There are loads of tomatoes. We just have to be a little bit more imaginative. And again, I'll mention Aldi and Lidl. Fresh, very, very good, and have a lovely selection of stuff. Lovely selection. Then you can work with your sun-dried tomatoes. You can work with your dried herbs. They've got mixed herbs, oregano. Oregano being one. Mixed herbs with rosemary and the others, all ground down. You can use that as a sprinkling. Yeah. So if
Richard,
yes.
Sorry for cutting you, but this is a long list.
Oh no, sorry, I'm just throwing that at you. But everything I'm saying
that's even with a pen and paper.
Sorry, I just get kind of excited. That wasn't so that you could write it down. I saw you was writing it down. But Teresa will look after all this. And yes, in answer to your question, in fact, the information will be uploaded in a period of time.
The information's good though, Rich. The information's
Yeah,
good. Don't
right, sorry,
let it cut you off. I think he was just saying slow down a bit so you could get it down.
Sorry, I get on it and I go. So,
Darren, can I just interject here? Anybody who wants to give us their details, we're making a list of people who are interested in what we're sharing. So please give us your email address through our website.
Yeah.
Excellent. And just
what about the chat? Are you talking about the chat?
Brian, sorry there. Very quickly, everyone, as you've been seeing throughout the chat, I've been putting in the links for TTIP and, of course, the website for Take Free Chefs. So if you could all refer to the chat, I've been religiously putting that in the last last 20 or so minutes. So there you go. There's Amina just put it in once again. So apologies, Brian. Carry on, sir.
Yeah. So there's there's quite a few things I wanted to say, but I can't hug the thing. Right, because I can see a business in this, a big business in this, what you're talking about. I'm trying to deal with credit union. You know credit union? Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to do a little thing, trying to create an employment team. There's 4,000 people credit unions looking to give to me as customers, and these people are disenfranchised. And most of them are black people who are unemployed and with mental health and all sorts of things. So I'm trying to grow something like this with credit union, but I could be signposting these people onto you guys, free chefs, or have you got? That's what I'm looking for, a website so I can signpost, but also for myself as a diabetes person. So I need to look for that website. What Taking the Initiative Party, I don't know your name, is just talked about on chat.
Okay, we'll just make a note of Take Three Chefs, and you can just Google search it afterwards, because there's a website, there's Insta, and as Teresa's just mentioned, through that you can contact, and then we'll put you on our list, and we'll feed you with information.
Thank you.
I'll just jump in here to say it's take3chefs@gmail.com. take3chefs@gmail.com. You can send us directly an email or go on the website.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, so just to confirm who we're going to have ask their questions next, we have Glenda, Mamta, and Rudy. Rudy, I have seen that your digital hand has disappeared, mind you, but by all means, if you're available when we get to you, of course, feel free to ask your question. So, Glenda, by all means, Glenda does represent the Preston Windrush Generation Group, which I am a proud member of as well. Glenda, if you would be so kind enough to unmute yourself and ask your question.
So that's why I came on, because it's to do with food. As you know, I'm in the kitchen on Fridays with a lot of volunteers. I can't remember the question, but I'm going to sort of ad-lib it. We cook a lot of, we give a traditional West Indian soul food, what we call soul food. So, but I wanted to know your take on yam, sweet potato, plantain. Of course, we also, and this is just once a week, we provide a service for all those seniors that, of course, miss their food, and most of them can't stand in the kitchen as long to cook it. So we do rice and peas, chicken, steamed cabbage. I know your mouths are watering now. Steamed cabbage and roast potatoes. So I just wanted your take on the healthiness of the food, because I know it's providing them the soul food, which is great for lifting your spirit. As my mum says, it comes with love, and I just wanted to know what you think about that. Just once a week we do it, just once a week, not every day.
Lyndon.
Yeah, well, if they're coming once a week, what would be helpful is like if you've got regular people coming, it's good to know what they're eating throughout the week as well, from Monday to. Sorry.
We deliver the food. We don't come.
or when you deliver it, it's good to find out what they're eating as well throughout the rest of the week. Yeah. What I would suggest is that what you're giving them is okay if it's in moderation, and they're not having it every day, because there's nothing wrong with having to taste a nice Caribbean meal. One of the things you can be looking at, what quantities of yam you're giving them, and what quantities of rice that you're giving them is very important as well. Don't give them a massive big plate like they think they're at home. But what I would suggest, if they're regular people taking food every week, get a data sheet, and ask them to fill out what they're eating on a week-to-week basis, because they may be eating yam Monday and Tuesday, and then you're bringing it on Friday as well. So you need to have a look at what they're eating. Maybe even Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're having rice as well. Then you're bringing them rice again on Friday. It's very important to find out what they're eating throughout the week. This is what I do when I talk to people. When people talk to me, Lyndon, what do I need to do now? I said, okay, let's make a list of foods that you're eating a regular throughout the week. You need to know that. This is what I had to do. Because you may be adding to their health issues, even though you're giving them a nice meal at the same time.
Can I just ask a further question on that? Because I know that there's conversations around like yam and hard food, I think is referred to in the real world, and it's actual whether or not it's good for us as people. I mean, and I know it goes back as far as I've heard to the slavery days when you were given certain foods to make you tired at the end of the day. So I think the real question is how good for you is that food? I think is the real.
It's not really. No, the yam is not good for you. It's high in carbohydrates.
Yeah, not from a diabetic point of view, no.
Yeah, definitely not. The thing about it, if you're a healthy person and 99% of the time you're eating healthy, then you have yam once in a while or plantain and once in a while. It doesn't make much difference because you've controlled yourself. I'll give you a typical example. When I was reversing my diabetes, it's over Christmas, the first couple of months, and it was Christmas. I had my family round for Christmas, my kids. Everybody was round, and on the table, it was like a dream. All the cakes, the banana cake, carrot cake, the bun, the cheese, the everything, the custard, and I was in a state of mental issues because I can hear all my family laughing and joking, but I wasn't with them because I was focused on reversing my diabetes and keep my blood sugars low. So I know I can have those cakes. But what I did, I took a selfie to say, okay, this is history for me to not have none of these cakes. I took the picture, and for some reason, I took that picture, and something just clicked in my head. I said, Lyndon, you know something? Just try a bit of that carrot cake. Just try a bit of it. So I tried a bit of that carrot cake. Oh, wow. And then I tried some bun. Wow. Then I tried a Christmas cake, and I put some custard on it. And I said, Lyndon, you've been doing so good for the last 2 months, man. Just enjoy yourself. So as soon as I said that to myself, my mind just changed, and I just started to eat everything that day. Yeah, that evening with my family, eating, drinking, everything. And the thing about it, when I had my next blood test, it was I think it was January or February. My next blood test, my blood sugars was low. Yeah, my blood sugars was low. Would you believe it? And I thought it was going to be high. The reason why it was low for the 2 months before that, I was doing so good, so well that when I decided to relapse, that's what I call it, it didn't affect my blood sugar. Yeah, so this is what I said to people, you need to know what you're eating from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for the week, and what you're going to have at the weekend. I remember sometimes on a Friday, my mum never used to cook on a Friday, very rare. We always got a takeaway or something like that.
That's right.
Always got a takeaway. So what we got to realize, the people, this is what I'm saying, it's so key within the community. We're feeding them, but let's know what they're eating before we get to them. Yeah, let's not add to the problem.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, but not to take away the invaluable work you're doing in Preston. Absolutely not.
Yeah, brilliant.
I was saying, I was thinking, you could actually give them more value. In that they could come to your group, they could get the food. But if you had a very, 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 very simple questionnaire, because nobody's going to necessarily, and that could be sold on the fact that we're offering you this meal, and it's in line with your heritage, and it's lovely. But hey, if you just fill in this simple
questionnaire,
simple questionnaire, very, very simple one, then we at Preston Windrush Group can give added value to this group, because now we're going to be looking out for your diabetic status as well, if you like, indirectly, without saying it in so many words. So, and I'd just like to reiterate what Lyndon has said. Portion control. There's one thing with us Caribbeans as a caterer. I want everyone to eat more and buy more from me. But hey, realistically speaking, we eat too much. Our portion sizes are too big. And, you know, I used to get it. I mean, as Lyndon said, when I was 11, I was a 44 waist. I was 5 foot nothing. And, you know, I was rubbing my crutches out, the crutch out of my trousers so fast they couldn't keep up with me in the local dry cleaners who used to dawn them up for me. You know, I would, and that was it again. You know, Mum did night work. I made breakfast for myself and my brother. It'd be cereal, 2-3 slices of toast, sausage, bacon, eggs. I was cooking for myself and my brother. And then by 12 o'clock, they eat it again, and we're going up for seconds. By 5, and then when I used and literally, my mum made a point of this. I used to be on my belly on the sofa, bawling because I eat too much. My belly a bust, and it was just that. And then they used to say to me, because this is the big Caribbean thing, around food security. If him sick, him can't eat. Make him eat, you know. But what we have to remember, in that generation, they know what it was to have without food. Because my mum would often say this. It says sometimes, you know, big families, 10 of them in the household, we have to catch up, fire, and that would be the fireside outside, the outside kitchen. We have to set up fire and little smoke, just be sure the people say we are eat something. Because they had to make do. Sometimes it said it was nothing. You get two root of cassava, and mommy turn it into something. That's what we're blessed with. But the fact is, food security is, I mean, sorry if I can just say, another thing we used to hear in the earlies, you know, before there were all these telephones or whatever, and Uncle so-and-so would have just come back from Jamaica. So, you know, they come round on a Sunday, and then all the men are meeting up, and then I hear how it's stay in Jamaica. And I used to hear this all the time. I was like, the first thing, why Jamaica nice, but you have to have money. Okay, fine, that's granted. And the second thing is food, plenty of food. And that was it. It was always, and the third might be, yeah, as long as you have a car, yeah. And this was from the 70s going up. So you got money, I could understand that. But I said, like, to myself, why is it they always say plenty of food? And it was only when I started asking the questions, you know, I was maybe 10, 12 years old, and I'm like, but then I realized I was told that food security and lack thereof was just so much. And so as a culture, that's why everybody eat, and it shows prosperity. If you go into the African countries, particularly Nigeria, the men are huge and the women do the work. All right. The men do very little, but hey, go on, you ladies, more power. But that's what happens. You just eat, and that's a sign of prosperity. So that's something we also have to get over culturally, even though I want to sell as much as I can. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. Yes, go on, Glenda.
Darren, I just wanted to say, you know, when you get me started talking, we do provide like a citizen-free service. So we do want to provide meals that we believe that they do want. But I want to share a story with you after what you were saying. Many of the people that we bring the meals to are over 70, 75. And it's an interesting story because one of the gentlemen passed away a few weeks ago. But we knew that he really needed the meals, yeah? And when he passed, his grandson said that his grandfather would really like it if we had all the food that was left in the kitchen. So they brought all the food. You would be surprised how many tins, don't get me wrong, I mean, a great guy, how many tins of condensed milk he had. I was flabbergasted. I mean, but what we did, we shared it with the community, you know, with all those others. So we shared it with the community. And other things that he had that I think we do put value on, but I do think for a lot of the older, like my mum, I think it's hard when they're at that age 80, because what you're trying to do is not empower, but hopefully give them something to live with. But the portions, I must say, you know, like a piece of yam.
Yeah.
It's cut, like in a slice. So think of it cutting for. It is a small portion of yam we give.
Yeah.
Small portion of sweet potato. So I know it's not going over the top.
I understand. I think one of the things that we can add to your list of things is something like okra. Yeah, okra, and this is one of the things I'm planning to do with DTI party. Is we incorporate certain foods like okra, bitter gourd, cinnamon, moringa, just a few of these products. Fenugreek. Sorry.
It's sourcing it for a voluntary organisation like ours. Unless people give us these things, it's usually expensive. Do you know what I mean?
No problem. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, but what I'm saying though, that we can still add certain ingredients that will help with the blood sugars. Do you understand me? You know, and it's not expensive. It's not expensive when you. I do it all the time, so we can have a discussion about that.
That's it. We can follow up on it.
We'll follow up on it because there are ways that we can do it, and there are, of course, ways that we will do it because it's imperative. It's very imperative. Because you're saying with the guy with the condensed milk, he's probably having condensed milk every day. But if we can give him certain ingredients that could suppress the sugar within the condensed milk, that will help. It's a start. I do with my mother.
Yeah. But see, again, looking at the age, that is so ingrained in culture. It's unbelievable. I mean, I've had the same from Sri Lankans, and they say exactly the same. They grew up on condensed milk and bread. I thought that was only Henry.
Yeah. I spoke to one gentleman once before, an Asian gentleman, and he was diabetic, high diabetic. And I said to him, he's cut down any rice. He goes, I eat rice every day. You know, he says, I eat rice every day. How can I stop eating rice? So it's like they're used to eating rice every day. And this is white rice, you know? So it's a mindset and trying to help these people at the same time. This is why I share my story, my journey with people, and to give them the impetus to feel like, I can start somewhere. We've got to start somewhere, you know? But you can do it, Glenda. Contact us. Definitely go to our website and leave your details with us.
Oh, definitely.
Or through the party, definitely.
Oh, I think you should come to our kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 meters apart.
Don't worry, we'll get up to Preston. We'll get up there.
Excellent. Thank you once again there. So moving on, due to time restraints, can we go to Mamta, please?
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Mamta.
Hello, Lyndon. How are you?
Well, thank you.
Brilliant. Lyndon, quick question. I'm a vegetarian, and after my main meal in the evening, I get really peckish around sort of 9:30, 10 o'clock. And the first thing I'll go for is a packet of crisp or something, really basically something that I shouldn't be eating.
Yeah.
Can you give any kind of ideas as to what I can have to eat, maybe in the evening, just a little snack? What would you suggest?
Blueberries or strawberries, food like that. It's really interesting you just say that. Even if you add something simple like Richard was saying, cos lettuce, chop it up, and mix some nuts with it, sesame seed, roasted sesame seed. You'd be so surprised how these little things can help. Even chickpeas, for example. We all like chickpeas, but if we season the chickpeas, and then in a special way that we like, if these certain foods that you like, Mamta, you could add that to your chickpeas, mix it, let it cool down, whatever, and then you can pick those throughout the evening.
Lyndon, that is so boring.
One of the snacks I have, right? Again, seasoned, and this is something I do quite regularly. Seasoned seeds and nuts, right? So it's sesame seed. My typical is sesame seed, almond, sesame seed, almond. I might cut up a couple of Brazils, not lightly. And what's the other nut now? Come on, sesame seeds, almond. There's normally 3 or 4. But what I also do is I sprinkle. Whilst I'm parching them, so they're raw. Yeah. So I've got them in a very hot pan, and I'm just turning them over. And if you just warm them, that's sufficient, because when they go cold, they'll still have that nutty taste, so to speak.
Yeah.
But then I'll season them. So I'll put a bit of cayenne pepper always, some sea salt or Himalayan salt or the black salt, whichever one, and that'll be my snack. But what I'll also, looking at your picture here, so you're Asian. Yes. You guys have got so much. I've got friends, Kenyan Indians, whom the families for generations have just been vegetarian. You've got so many different grains powdered. I've seen in the Sri Lankan shops so many grains, and you can take those. You can take anyone, boil them, mix them with coconut, put a bit of agave sugar on for something sweet or something spicy. Again, you've got so many spices. You can use all of these in it. Make up your own little balls. It's a bit of effort because it's not the same as having a pack of crisps ready on hand. But if you do these by the batch, because I make up these balls and I use coconut, warm coconut oil, and then I mix in with the oats. So one of these balls I make up is like not even regular oats. It's actually flaked barley. Flaked barley. So I can barley flakes. So I can toast that quickly if I want a more nutty flavor. Stop when I've had enough, or I just take it as it is raw, put it in a pan, melt some coconut butter over it, add a little agave to sweeten it if I want. You guys use cardamom. Cardamom has a lovely flavor.
Yeah, flavor.
Cardamom. Just stick a couple of cardamoms in there, right? Make it up as a batch. Stick a couple of cardamoms in there. Turn it just in the warm oil. Turn it off, and then as it starts to cool, form them in balls, leave them in a tray, cut them up in squares. Lovely snack, and make them up as a huge batch. They'll last 2 weeks in the fridge, I'm sure. So very simple, very cheap, and that will fill the gap.
Yeah, you could even sweet potato chips as well. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay. That's a bit more involved. That's
but you just slice and put them in the oven.
No, but Richard, I like Lyndon's idea of the sweet potato because that's like down my street.
No, I love it, but I was just trying to.
Yeah, no, that's good.
But even with you could do even with kale as well. Yes. Kale is hard. Yeah, you could just wash the kale off, dry it off, and put it in the oven. Yeah, and dry it in the oven at a low temperature. And to be honest with you, I didn't even like kale before I was diabetic. I hated it. But when I just find some greens that I started to eat kale. I started to eat it raw as well, and I couldn't believe how much I liked it. And when I started to cook it in the oven, just to dry it out, and I could just eat it by itself, but sometimes I put a bit of olive oil on it or a bit of Himalayan salt, and that's it. And you'd be surprised how much it is. I even like beetroot. Yeah, beetroot. Yes. If you carve sliced beetroot, you could put that in the oven and dry it out at a low temperature as well. Even like sweet potato, parsnip as well. It's beautiful.
Yep. Okay.
Parsnip, yeah.
And oats. Are oats good for you as well?
Oats is good in moderation. Moderation.
But barley flake better.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah. Because I became addicted to porridge when I was reversing my diabetes. So I stopped eating breakfast. I stopped eating all the baked beans, the sausages, and all those kind of things in the morning. And what I started to do, I started to have my porridge. I started to put spirulina in it, cinnamon, blueberries. I started to put in dark chocolate because it's a flavonoid. I was focused on flavonoid foods. That's what I was doing. And if you see some of my early pictures of my porridge, even now I still put the spirulina in. It's green. My daughter goes, "Ugh, Dad, what's that?" You know? It's terrible.
No, that's good. Lyndon,
That's one of my drinks now, you know?
Yeah. Brilliant. No, I think last time I heard you, I did go and get spirulina. It's really, really good. And you don't taste it doesn't taste of anything as well. So.
Well, you think so? I love it, spirulina, but it's too fishy for me. It's too fishy.
It's the initial first smell when you open the packet. Yeah. It's like, whoa, that's what puts you off. You know, and it's funny, you get used to it after a while. It's like when I do my okra water with my bits of gourd, and when it comes down to the fermentation part of it, it smells. It doesn't smell nice at all, but you get used to it.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just like if you go to the sea, and the first thing you do when you get to the sea, you can smell seaweed. Yeah, when you go close up, it's exactly the same smell. But it's just that we don't smell it every day. We think it's horrible. We think it's horrible. So it's just a matter of training our mind and our palate to get used to the things. Yeah, that will help us. And don't forget, it's temporary. Yeah, it's temporary with a lot of these foods.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's a pleasure, Mamsa.
Excellent. Thank you again. And we have our next person with a question, Joanna. Joanna, if you would like to unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Hi everyone. My question is for Teresa. Earlier on, you spoke about the gut bio, and I was interested in the benefits and disadvantages of that, and whether it relates to allergies and immune system strength as well. So I just wanted to hear a little bit more about that because it was something you spoke about.
Okay.
And then we moved on, but yeah, I was quite interested in that.
Thank you for asking that question. Yes, it's very detailed. As I say, I'm not a doctor. I don't give medical advice. It's my own research and my own understanding. As far as I know, the gut biome is the number one thing that keeps our immunity healthy. And the second thing that we need is fiber. So the gut biome, we have what they call a protective sheath around our gut. And if that gets damaged through stress and inflammation, it kind of opens. And then that lets particles in to places that it shouldn't go. And then we end up having triggers into different kind of challenges in our health. So the most important thing is to protect that gut. And inside of the gut, we're supposed to have like a rainforest, a variety of microbes. But because of the way we eat, we can reduce that. And because we reduce that, the body can't do the job it's supposed to do. And then it starts to have an impact. And then over time, we start to see the effects of that. So taking care of your gut biome is one of the most important things you can do because that's where your immunity comes from. And diet is a way to help with that. But we have to have a relationship with plant-based food because fiber is one of the triggers for the bacteria that we have in our gut to start to do their work. So it's very complex, and we do a series of information on that through our Take Free Chef project because it obviously affects everybody in this time where we're not getting as much exercise and as much fresh food as we would like. So it's a very important question, and there's a lot more to say on it. But at this point, I'll just say that it's very important to look after it. It is the gateway to cause some kind of disease, and it happens slowly sometimes. But the inherited biome you get, you can change it through making food choices that are not beneficial to you. And fiber is one of the food choices that are beneficial to you. That's something that's really important. And some of the foods for fiber, there's a variety of types of fiber, is seeds, legumes, oats, vegetables, and fruit. Now, all of these types of food create different types of fiber. And if you're not going to the toilet once a day, that means that your body is in stress. And stress causes the body to also have effects that are not good for your health. So that's as much as I could say right now. But if you do come to one of our sessions, there'll be a lot more deeper information. I hope that helps.
It does. Thank you very much. And I will check you out. Thank you. Thanks.
Lovely. Thank you very much. It's been a very enthralling conversation tonight. Thank you all for interjecting, asking your questions. It really is making for a brilliant conversation. Obviously with Teresa and the three chefs as well. Absolutely lovely. So yeah, time is ticking away, but we, if I'm not mistaken, Teresa, you said that we've got you at least until 11 p.m.
Yes, you have. One of us will have to leave, but the rest of us will stay.
Okay, well, let's see how we get on there. So, just to confirm, we will have next in the following order, Julia, Marva, Zinga, and Brian. So, Julia, if you'd like to unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Thank you, Chair. My question is regarding somebody's just asked me to ask the question. They are a member of another organisation and they wanted to know if they was to join the TTIP, would that be a disadvantage to them? Meaning, because they're already a member of an organisation, would that have any constraints on being a member of the TTIP? So that's from a direct question to me, which I thought I'd put out for them. And secondly, to Richard again and to Lyndon, my father's got a saying that said, once my arse is full, me can dead no. So meaning, if his tummy is full, anything can happen to him during the night. And he feels because the content of his tummy is full, he doesn't mind what's going to follow to enable him to pass from this life form into the next, if anything was to happen towards.
Yeah. You know, not go bed hungry.
Listen, the only time that I started to overeat is when I went to my mother's house. I didn't care, you know. My mother's food is the best ever, you know. So I always used to feel bloated when I came from my mother's house, and that's the way it is, you know. It's a companionship as well sometimes.
Hey, thank you.
And just going back to your first question there, Julia, in respect to anybody who is initiated with any other organisations, by all means, we do not discriminate at all. Yes, please do join TTIP. We don't have any constraints in that. All I would advise you to do is ask said organisation or party if you can still join an alternative party. We don't have a problem with that. We're actually quite would welcome other parties to come and work with us. So that would be our stance on that particular question. Okay, so we should now have next Marva. Thank you so much for your patience. If you would like to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good evening, everyone. Hi there. We deliver as well to some elders in our area. I'm in Kent, and we deliver once a week hampers and also ready-made meals. One of the things that we wanted to do is to make it culturally appropriate for them, being West Indian and African members. And I just wanted to pick up on what Lyndon said about the yams, because I had to go to a meeting today, so I wanted to swat up on the properties of some of our items, like the yams, pumpkin, and so on and so forth. And I looked up and I saw that yams, it says, yams is a great source of fiber, manganese, potassium, copper, and antioxidants. So that's what I found. So is that not correct? Please confirm.
There's different. Yes, yellow yam, green yam, and white yam as well. So it depends which
White
which
yam
yam
is
it
the
is.
common one, and that's the one least beneficial. But they all do have those properties as well. Yeah. But white yam is the Ghana yam. The white yam is the least beneficial from a diabetic perspective.
Yeah.
Could I just ask also, which part of Kent are you in?
I'm in the Medway towns.
Oh, Chatham, Gillingham.
Yes, Rochester. Yeah, Strood.
Yeah. I know that area pretty well. I used to the old paper mills and was in my engineering days.
Okay.
All right, great. Okay, all right. Yeah. Just made a note of that because I'm the nearest to you because I'm just a hop down on the A2 or the A20.
All right. Yeah. I think I'll touch base with you then.
Yeah, Martha. Regarding the yams as well. Yeah, do that, Martha. Regarding the yams as well, it's good to know the portion size that you're giving as well. Yeah, that's very crucial as well. The portion size, like we said to Glenda before as well. When you do these boxes or parcels, like what you could probably do as well is a questionnaire to who you're sending the food out to. Yeah, to find out what they're eating throughout the week. This is so important because I'm a young man and I've been there So I tell you a story. When I wrote my book, the day that I decided to write my book, I was reading what I was eating before, and I was crying, because I couldn't comprehend what I was having before. Until I wrote it down, it kind of sunk in my head. And I was thinking to myself, is this what I've been going through? Is this what I've been eating? So that when I read my book for the first time, with that first sentence, those first chapters, it was a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call. So anyone who's out there who is diabetic, type 2 diabetic, you need to make a list for yourself, a questionnaire of what you're eating on a day-to-day basis if you really want to reverse your type 2 diabetes. Don't forget, type 2 diabetes is a lifestyle. It's what you put in your mouth. It's what you put in your mouth. Yeah, number one, can you control it? Number two, yes, you can. Why? Because there's somebody else who out there has done it.
That's it.
Yeah? But it doesn't mean you're going to do it, but at least you can start. You've got the foundation to start now. Yeah? We're on a program to get you started to reverse it step by step. You don't have to do it in 105 days like I did. No, you don't have to. You take your time, step by step. Yeah? Step by step. Step by step. So this is what we believe in, everyone out there with type 2. Yeah, with type 1, it's a different story, but with type 1, there's food you can focus on. Yeah, if a certain part of your body is not working, what do? You focus on certain foods that's going to heal that part of the body. Yeah,
pancreas particularly.
Flavonoid foods. Thank you, Richard. You see, we got it. We're going to implement it, and we're implementing it.
Well done.
Implementing it. So, Marva, just contact us. Stay in contact with us. And yeah, it's imperative. We're going to help the people, the community, 100%.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that there. Okay. Sister Nzinga, thank you so much for your patience. If you'd like to ask your question, please.
Thank you. Greetings, everyone. And it is a very interesting discussion. One of my concerns is whether there's any actual research being done to look at whether some of the hypertension and cholesterol medications that our people are often taking contribute to this prevalence of diabetes. I'm not sure what is being done medically to examine this. And I think it's something that needs to be looked at because a lot of medications cause side effects. And so, I just am very concerned about that for our people because often they're taking, obviously diet is really important. And things like exercising is another important factor because obviously when we were younger and we were eating yam and sweet potato and all these foods, we also were busy washing and, certainly when I came to this country as a small child, nobody had no washing machine and you cleaned the floors. Every weekend there was big cleaning and washing and now people are literally sedentary, hardly doing any exercises unless they need to. So those two things I think are important to look at. The medications that people are being prescribed and the side effects that these can have in terms of creating things like diabetes and so on, and also the importance of exercising on a regular basis. Thank you.
From my personal experience, it's very, very hard for me to say if I was blessed, lucky, or just got the short straw. Because when I was offered medication, my cousin who I grew up with for many years, I loved him dearly. And he said, if you do become diabetic, don't take any medication because there are side effects to it, And because I've been a chef for all these years, the only tablet that I ever took was a headache tablet. We always had headache tablets because in the kitchen you get plenty of headaches, on a regular basis. So I declined medication just on that aspect of it. Yeah, because I didn't want anything else to go wrong with my body. So that was my choice. I'm not saying that you got to do it. If you want to come off medication, check with your doctor, your dietitian, whatever it is. Counsel with somebody before you do it. But people are asking me, what's it like on it? I said, I can't answer that question because I was never on it, you know? But
what I'm actually suggesting is that perhaps as a people, we need to be putting some pressure on the health service to examine these things. They say that we have a propensity to develop hypertension and diabetes. Why? And high cholesterol. Why? This needs to be examined. And we just don't take it for granted that we're.
Okay, let me ask you another. Okay, let me ask you another question. When do you go to a doctor?
When you're sick, obviously, but we need to be more informed.
So as my friend Valma always says, your body is your temple. Yeah. If you know there's something wrong with your body, you do something about it. If you don't feel anything wrong with your body, why go somewhere? If you reduce something, yeah, is it detrimental to your health? When I stopped having all these fizzy drinks and having all these carbohydrates, all the elements and innings have gone. I don't have pins and needles anymore. Yeah, I don't have blood vision anymore.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I agree with you.
No, but what I'm saying to you,
a lot of our elders, they don't even challenge these doctors.
Yeah, but
they just take what they're given and go away with it.
I understand, but this is another conversation in private.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's another conversation in private because there's things that we can and we can't and we won't do and we won't say. But your body's your temple. You're the one who's putting the stuff in the mouth. Yeah, you're the one. When I stopped putting the stuff in my mouth, I lost weight. I felt more energized. I was at one point when I was reversing my diabetes. I was at the O2 Centre in London, and there's a company there, a car company there, and they've got this machine in there which they put you on, and it's got these electrodes on it. You stand on it, barefoot, and you touch the handles, and it tells you the water content and everything about your body. When I was reversing my diabetes, they said I'm fit enough to be a racing driver. Yeah, I was fit enough to go, but I wasn't a racer, but I was fit enough because I was doing all the right things up to that point.
I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is that for our elders, I mean, I'm an elder. I take charge of myself. So I decide whether I'll take something or not. And if I'm not going to take it, I don't care what the doctor says. But a lot of our people are not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not going to say that to the doctor. I'm not having it. They're going to just take it. And then it brings on, some of them have got massive bags of medicine taking. It's
that's
look at this and deal with it.
To simplify that, maybe they need doctors that relates to them.
Absolutely.
You know, the other thing is, if you want to go to a doctor, go to a hospital that's run by the people that you want to be looked after by. It's another story. It's another story. This is deep. This is deep. But what we have to do within our own personal selves, what do we want to achieve and what's the solution? We know the solution, but it's implementing the solution. Yeah. And the only reason why I'm still on this journey, because people find it hard to find somebody like me who's done it. The amount of people that contacts me on a day-to-day basis, I can't believe it. I'm nothing special. All I did was cut down on my carbohydrates. You know? That's all I've done.
Can I just say, I mean, the Asera Set Society, which is a Pan-African spiritual organization, they've been teaching this since the 80s in this country. Vegan diets, meditation, exercise, blah, blah, blah. And, I mean, so there are many people trying. It's about how people, what's the word? Have access to information, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, the information, to simplify, is look at me. If you're type 2 diabetic, that's how simple it is. Mindset, diet, physical activity, intermittently fasting. I've given you the answer to reverse type 2 diabetes. My question is to you. Do you want to implement those strategies to do it? What are the consequences of you staying diabetic?
You know
what are the consequences of diabetes? So it's not.
No, I'm not saying you, but I'm
just
saying
saying
anyway.
that there are people out there.
Yeah, I know.
Be reached.
Can I just jump in on that point? And it's just this isn't the views of TTIP, it's my own personal view. But I'd say that the one thing that people need to be conscious of in the UK medical system, and in any medical system in the Western world, to be fair, is that there isn't any there's no money in curing these things. There's only money in the treatment of these things. So what you'll find generally is that the hospitals are very keen to put you on long-term medication, knowing that they'll have you on that medication for the rest of your life and constantly be making money from you, as opposed to necessarily giving you what might be in play to cure whatever the ailment is that you're dealing with. And the other thing to say is even a lot of these medications that are made are still made from natural herbs or natural things from the ground and from, do you see what I mean? Or from generally from what's the word I'm looking for generally from nature. And then they repackage them, stick them in a tablet form, and then sell them back to us. So I think it's important if people do their research, they can find out what the original and natural remedies for things are, and work towards their own solutions as well. So, I mean, things have changed now in the last 20 years. Information's on the internet. It's easier to get to the information. So I think it's important for everyone to just be mindful of that fact. And I just re-emphasize that point. And again, I'd say it's not TTI views, it's my own personal view, but there's no money in the cure. The money's in the treatment, and so people just need to be mindful of that whenever they're taking anything from Western world doctors, and that's it. Sorry.
Thank you, that's fine.
Okay, thank you very much again for your questions there, Zinga. You really had the group chat going. And yeah, I think it's very important to note to one and all, just as everybody, and there's been a few people point out, everyone is different. So what may be one person's medication, one person's elixir, maybe another person's poison. So by all means, you know your bodies, you know what works for you, you know what's detrimental to your health. Just bear that in mind. But please do take on board everything what has been said this evening. It's been an absolutely brilliant conversation. So moving on, we also have Brian back again with some more questions. Brian, if you'd like to unmute yourself, sir.
I've got a scared cousin who's listening. He wants to know, or shy cousin, about green banana porridge. And one thing I wanted to say, remember Dr. Sebi? Didn't he, one of the key things he was talking about was mucus is one of the problems to do with cancer and all the other ailments. I don't know if you know about that, but that's all I've got to say. But definitely green banana porridge he's talking about. Is that any good?
Who's that to?
Rich, can you answer? I don't really know.
Well, okay, no. Bottom line, I grew up on green banana porridge. And well, later days, green plantain, arrowroot. All those porridges are excellent. Green banana in particular, excellent. What if, from a health perspective, what might spoil it is white, sugar, the sugar aspect of it. Yeah. So if you don't have any sugar, even better. But if you do, again, as I said before, get some agave or just cut down on the sugar level. But banana porridge per se, absolutely excellent, excellent. But don't use, because the traditionalists will boil it and add flour, plain flour to it to thicken it. Yeah, don't do that. There's enough substance in the banana that has its own thickening agent ultimately. Yeah. So if you'd find out if they use white flour to thicken it, as my people do, don't do that. Add more cinnamon, add more nutmeg, and sweeten it with agave ideally, or some fruit. Stick a few pieces of fruit in there, or blend it in it to give it that sweetness. And berries, as Lyndon said earlier, berries, blackberry, any of the berries, blackberry, strawberry, raspberry, and even some raisins, black raisins with the seeds in that you can get from the Asian shops. Black raisins with the seeds in, slightly less sulfur and preservatives in there, but there are some. So that's the trade-off, really, when you're trying to feed a city. You know, you can't have just-in-time food. They have to stick some preserves in it, but try and keep that aspect to a minimum. But again, if you don't overdo it, it wouldn't be a problem.
And what about Dr. Zebi? Has anyone heard about what you're talking about mucus?
Right. Well, Sebi's. I mean, I've done a lot of research on Dr. Sebi and used some of his things like making up his pizzas with Brazil nut milk and all this. Yes, mucus is from the Sebi perspective, because there are other views. Mucus is the number one ailment, the number one aspect that attacks the body, and as he says, if it manifests in your joint, it's what's the joint one? Oh, come on, joint pain, systemic, arthritis. So if the mucus manifests in here, it's arthritis. If mucus, you get mucus in your eyes, and there are certain eye exercises you can do every morning. 6 of these across the top, 6 down, 6 to the side, 6 underneath, and 6 round motions, and then fixing your eyes on something 4 or 5 meters away and coming back to do eye exercise. So mucus is trapped in the eyes as well and assists in the poor vision. So yes, anything you can do, milk, dairy products, cheese, all the rest. If you're struggling from that, get it out. I find in the morning, if I've got any thick mucus, more water. Just drink water. For me personally, within a minute, I find it loosens it up and I bring it up naturally.
Never drink, when you wake up, never drink anything cold. Always drink something hot.
Drink it at room temperature or warm, because if nothing else, it goes wham to your kidneys. So room temperature, and as Lyndon said earlier, lemon water, warm lemon water.
Ginger, eucalyptus, apple cider vinegar, apples. These things help with all it. Hot peppers are like cayenne pepper. These things help with it. You know, when I was going,
that removes the mucus. Sorry.
Yeah, when I was going to the gym, I was having water, my okra water, and I'd have a cayenne pepper in it. But I didn't know how strong cayenne pepper was. I started to drink it straight. You know, so it's very strong. So you have to be careful with the cayenne pepper. It's a required taste to the hotness and spiciness, but it's worth it though.
Excellent. Thank you very much again. So, Love and Peace, if you would like to unmute yourself and ask your question.
I don't have a question.
Did you not want to ask about the flavonoids?
Oh, right. I said, yeah, what flavonoids should we take?
Flavonoids is a full list of flavonoids that you can take from strawberries, tomatoes, parsley, watermelon, almond nuts, blueberries. If you go onto my website, theinspireddiabetes.com, in the health section, there's a full list of flavonoids there. Yeah, full list. The list is massive. One of my favorite things that I grew up with was with fried onions and tomato. My mother always done it. And then when I found out about the red onion, it's a flavonoid food, I was so happy. So I loved onion, so I loved fried onion. But now I don't so much fry, it's more steam than fry. Yeah, and I get its own juices out. Because don't forget, even with cooked tomatoes, there's another thing, cooked tomatoes is good for the prostate as well.
Okay.
Yeah? So some of these foods, they're doubling up. Good for the prostate and good for the diabetes as well.
Because my brother has type 1 diabetes and he doesn't think that he can reverse it.
Okay, so you should, all right, contact me and go to flavonoids.
Okay.
Yeah? So
all right,
I don't mean to laugh, but go on to flavonoids and if possible, contact me directly as well.
Can I say that you can't reverse type 1 diabetes?
Sorry?
Only type 2. You can't reverse type 1 diabetes. You're usually born with it. It's type 2 that you can reverse.
Okay, well, I know many a man who's reversed their type 1 diabetes. That's another story.
Interesting. Right.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to Julia, if you could ask your next question, and then we have Hodaya and Simon Says.
I thank you, Chair. I was going to ask the question. Obviously, being of Caribbean heritage, I would ask the question: what's the feelings about Epsom salts and Cenepods as in a fasting or detox cleansing process? Because sometimes we can eat certain food and you can feel quite bloated or heavy or whatever the case may be. And sometimes, especially when my mom was alive, she used to bring this concoction and say you had to drink it. Now, yes, we did. And yes, we was always in queue for the bathroom and it worked. But what is an alternative that is more stomach friendly? And do you object to that? Or do you think that we should move from those kind of remedies that have stood the test of time? It worked then, it still works now. And just wanted to have your feedback on that, Richard.
Yeah, excellent. I saw your question come up in the chat, and I was just itching to talk. But it's been mentioned in the chat that I'm coming on a bit too much. But I put my mother on a cleanse last night in Jamaica, and she did it last night, and that was a kidney cleanse to remove some stones, which I've done. And the Epsom salt, absolutely excellent. Right? You can also bath in it. There's lots of things you can do with Epsom salt. Soak your feet. But from the cleansing perspective, wash out. We call it wash out. Wash out. And every year you have to have your wash out. So even in Jamaica, every summer, because you'll be eating mangoes with worms and stuff and parasites. And so they would alter. So Cenepod, all of those, absolutely imperative. Because, and the fancy term is now detox. So if you have that and you drink plenty of water, even if you're going to go on and the colon, work with your colon, because the colon is the area of the body that extracts all the nutrients, right? So you have to have your B complex, make sure your colon is in good health, have a quick detox cleanse, and you can just basically eat veg for 2 or 3 days, and that will clear out your body. But the Epsom, and because what she did yesterday was Epsom salt, 6 p.m. Glass of Epsom salt, follow the instructions. Glass of Epsom salt at 8 p.m. I did it as well. At 10 o'clock, you have a concoction of lemon juice with olive oil. Big glass. Go to bed. Wake up 6 o'clock in the morning. Have your third glass. And when I'm finished here, I'm about to ring my mum to find out how she got on, because I've actually posted the results of mine on Facebook. And then you do that every other month until it's clear. And that removes what might grow into big stones within the kidney and cause difficulties. So, yes, absolutely imperative. And that was the conversation I was having again with my mother, because as a child, I was put on it. My brother was put on it. And yes, you run to the toilet, but that our system happening. And that's the big issue, because you've got so many processed foods now. You've got trans fats. You know, these children, they're not having the roughage, you know, as we've spoken about, the kale and the greens, even the simple greens that you can get in the market for nothing. Cut off your cauliflower. If you cut that up and steam it, add a bit of flavour to it, that's fantastic food. Even I was schooled here, and every meal we had when the cooks used to cook, and I can go into something else because I've worked with cooks in schools now who don't cook and can't cook, because everything come in pre-packs and they just warm it up. But back in the day when they used to cook, we had a small portion of greens with every meal, and that's what keeps our system flush. So yeah, wash out, Cenepod, even the Brooklocks, the chocolate one, Epsom salts, follow the instructions, obviously follow the instructions. But if we can take that regularly, at least once a year, a couple of times a year, perfect as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that, one of the other cleanses you can do is watermelon with the seeds, with the black seeds, pumpkin seeds, and papaya. And then what you do, you blend them all together, and that helps take the parasites out of the body. It does. It takes the parasites. And this is what I was doing as well. And there's nothing called Psyllium husk. Psyllium husk is a colon cleanse. The product's a powder and it solidifies within your body and it takes it out gently. It doesn't make you run to the toilet, just takes it out gently. And the third thing is intermittently fasting. Just abstain from eating. Abstain from eating, and that will help. Because once you abstain from eating, your body's going to start to fight itself to find food. It's going to start to break down inside and it's going to start to move around. And intermittent fast is so interesting when you actually start it, because you're going to find your body is doing certain things and you can, wow, what kind of feeling is that? Wow. And then when you drink water to fill yourself, it's a different feeling. You can't believe how full you feel once you drink the water without stuffing yourself with food. So there are definitely simpler ways, even with Epsom salt. There's many Richard said about Epsom salt. I'm thinking about bathing Epsom salt, jumping in a bath. You know, so that's all I'm thinking. You know, because even there's a product that I'm using now to wash my body, and it's got eucalyptus in it. And when you wash your body with it, you wash your face, your hair with it, the eucalyptus goes through your system and it helps to cleanse it out as well. It does. So yeah, there's a few things, but we're going to be implementing a lot of these things and introducing it to a lot of people out there anyway. Definitely. So thank you for that.
Excellent. Thank you once again. Okay, so let's move on to Sister Odaya.
Sorry, just trying to unmute myself. Yes, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Darren.
Good evening.
Good evening. Lyndon, I just want to say I am so happy to be here this evening. I remember you from the Tudor Rose, 23rd of Feb, 2020.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember that.
And I am so pleased to see that you have progressed. You're just going onwards and upwards all the time. That's really good. I want to ask you, are you a vegan?
No, I'm not a vegan. No, I'm not a vegan. I very, very rarely eat red meat now. I used to love my beef. I used to love my lamb, especially my lamb. I very rarely eat it. I very rarely eat chicken as well. Fish sometimes. To be honest with you, I look at myself sometimes and I think to myself, boy, Linda, you've changed so much, because of the control that I have of what I ingest nowadays is unbelievable. And I don't feel like I miss it. Once upon a time, if I don't smell that lamb, oh yeah, I can have some lamb, I go and eat it. And I remember one day I was doing a job before lockdown, and my friend, he cooked some lamb, and the lamb just smelled so nice when he cooked it. And so I'll leave it, just try. So I tried a bit of the lamb, I had to spit it out. It smelled nice, but it didn't taste right for me. It just didn't taste right. So I've changed. I can go vegan. It's no problem. I could go vegetarian. It doesn't bother me now. You know, it really doesn't. But I'm not. I still eat some chicken. When I go to my mum's doing my mum's doing stewed chicken. You know. So I love my mum's a good cook, and my mum love. It's very hard to compare how good my mother is a good cook. You know what I'm saying? Because everything she does tastes got flavour in. You know, down to fish. So yeah.
Excellent. I asked because I thought you was a vegan. I am, and have been since the year 2000. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm from a community of the largest vegans in the world. All right.
Okay.
And people were really intrigued. How can you live without eating meat? But I'm telling you, as a vegan, in fact, there is so much that one can eat. Sadly, even though they claim that certain things are organic, that's questionable. All right. So I was just going to ask about how you prepare your vegetables, because I assumed you were vegan. But
I tell you, I personally prepare my vegetables with mostly fresh herbs or spices that I know from one of my friends' company, who their spices are organic. They're nice, fresh all spices. Yeah, I'm very funny now about lots of things. It's really interesting, and I for some reason I just love onion. I just love onion. I do a lot of things with onion. It's like one of the staple diets for me. You know, if I'm doing something, I just steam down a bit of onion, and I eat even onion raw now as well. just a raw onion sandwich. I don't know. It's the interesting times that we go through, because don't forget, we've been eating certain foods all of our life. And then when you start to do certain things, you think, is it possible? But I went to a vegan festival about 3 years ago at Alexander Palace. Yeah, Alexander Palace. And if you go to Alexander Palace, they've got a car park at the top. Yeah, on where the main place is. That's where a lot of people park.
I know.
Yeah, when I went there, they had the car park down on the road, down in the gully. They had the car park. That's how vegan had taken off. The amount of people was going to vegan. Vegan festival.
Absolutely, it's huge. When I started, I did the BBC Good Food shows. All the vegan festivals and that kind of stuff. Absolutely massive. And I think it's not a bad idea. When you have a session, I'll come and assist you and introduce some vegan foods.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely. I'd love that. And also we have Chef Kevin, who's 1/3 of our Take 3 chefs, who's not with us tonight. He does vegan. He does vegetarian. He's a award-winning chef. He's very, very good, very knowledgeable. But to be honest with you, if you got some information that you want to share with us regarding vegan food, we're open-minded to listen to what you got. So you can contact us through the take3chefs.com website and leave some information. And we're openly listen to anybody about helping the community with that side of food. Because I'm still learning now. Would you believe it? I'm still learning now.
You're doing great.
Yeah, I'm still
I
learning.
had some vegan products in supermarkets and health food shops. I don't intend to stay here, after, say, September of this year. But I'll be happy to pass certain things on. I said that because I can see that what you're doing is really good.
Thank you.
I would like to contribute by leaving certain things behind.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
And thank you to everyone as well, to Richard Simpson as well.
May I just ask, actually, where is it you're going? To the motherland, I trust.
Africa.
Sorry?
Africa.
Where? Yeah, no, where?
Oh, I'm going to Ghana, actually.
Oh, to Ghana. Okay, yeah, I've got a couple of friends who've set up in Ghana and the Gambia. One has a Caribbean place in Gambia as well, actually. So
I will be traveling around, but that will be sort of like roots kind of thing. Yeah.
Great. All the best to you, and thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, Simon says, if you care to unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Oh, hi everyone. Thank you so much for this great information we're having this evening. Great call, and love all the tips and ideas. Lyndon did actually answer a bit of my question about intermittent fasting. I understand that it can reduce your insulin levels, and therefore you can eat normally in between the times when you're fasting, and reduces your blood sugar levels. Just wanted to see if there was anything more you could tell me about it, like what's the best type of fasting to do? Should we try one day fasting or twice a week fasting, or just stick with the easiest, which is about 16-hour fasts?
Yeah, well, I was intermittently fasting, but when I was doing it, I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was intermittently fasting. It's when I went to events and started to talk about my journey and told them that I would take my daughter to school in the morning for 8:30, and I'll be in the gym for 3-4 hours just working out, trying to lose the weight. And I'll be doing that 3, 4, maybe 5 times a week. So I wasn't eating in the morning for about 4, 5, 6 hours. And when I get back to the car, I'll have a punnet of blueberry and a banana. And then people say to me, Lyndon, you're intermittently fasting. I said, what's that? I mean, you're not fasting, you're not eating, you're just drinking. So I just drink water. So that's how I found out about intermittently fasting. When I reversed my tablets, I was so naive about everything. I didn't know nothing about what I was doing. All I knew was I had to stop eating food. I literally, it was days that I didn't want to eat food. But I was fasting. I was conscious of doing one fast a month, 24-hour fast, because I was going to have a blood test. So when I was going for a blood test, I would fast for 24 hours and just have water. And one day I said to myself, Lyndon, test your body, because I said after 24 hours, I'm going to have a nice breakfast. 24 hours came, I felt, oh, is that it? 25 hours came, I thought, I'm still okay. 26 hours came, I thought, try one more hour. So I went 27 hours, yeah, just drinking water, you know? And don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy, yeah, but I made it easy because of my mindset. So I didn't think about food. I kept myself busy, and I knew that when I drank the water, it would fill me up. So you have to believe and trust your body, what you're doing sometimes. And that was for me, just to let you know. It may not work for you like that, but it works for me. So the intermittently fasting helped my body, number one, reduce my blood sugar levels because of the lack of intake of food. And number two, it cleansed my body. It cleansed my body. My mind was clear, you know, my body was clear, I felt good. It's a great feeling. But you have to experience it to know. It's like sometimes I used to do spinning. Yeah, spinning on the bike. Yeah, I hated thinking about going. I hated it when I was doing it, but afterwards I was so happy when I'd done it because I'd reached my goal of finishing it, and that's the joy of it. It's just like type 2 diabetes. Do it for a short period of time and get it done, and then go back to doing the normal things. But by the time you get back to doing the normal things, your body's going to feel different. You might become a vegetarian, you might become a vegan. You're going to feel much better, and it's just about maintaining it from there. And how do I personally maintain it? By having my drinks, yeah, every day, my okra water, my bitter gourd water. I don't drink. I really don't drink anything else, really. You know, because I'm so used to that now. I don't think I need any of these foods to drink anymore. You know, my mango juice, my ginger beer. Big deal.
Do you use any ionized particular water, like alkali water or what's it called? Ionized water?
I have a filtered water system in my house. We have a filtered. We've had for years before all it became popular, the ionized water and all that kind of thing. Filtered water. There's a company I came across the other day that does very nice water as well. Yeah, so I've tried their water as well. So yeah, there are waters out there, but if anybody wants to know about that, we can talk about it afterwards.
Well, thank you. That was really interesting. Yes, I've heard about intermittent fasting being great for other things. You know, like just getting your heart functioning properly, and you know, get, as you said, letting your mind get clear because it's kind of a detoxing. But somebody also told me about it as a way of lowering your blood sugar. So I thought it would be a good way for people who might be pre-diabetic to kind of stop themselves getting along that route.
Yeah, if you're pre-diabetic and you think you're going to go for a blood test, you should intermittently fast before you go and do a 24-hour fast before you go. You know, this is what I suggest you do, because you know you know some people I've spoken to, they know they're diabetic before they go. They know. So I'm saying to them, before you do go, do something before you go. Don't just go there and get the blood test and then the result's going to be high. Do something contingency plan before you actually go. And then let's see what happens when you have your blood test. You know? So it's preparation as well. It's mental preparation. It is. It really is.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Lyndon. Great call.
Thank you again. Okay, so let's bring this to a close. I believe Alan Collins, you've got one question you would like to ask. By all means, if you'd like to unmute yourself, sir.
Oh, hello. Yeah, the question I was going to ask was, if you put like the chickpea, but you put curry on it, are you kind of defeating the purpose?
It depends what curry mix you're putting on it. It does.
Curry spices and stuff.
Yeah, but the curry spices could be from ginger, from turmeric to cardamom to fenugreek. These different spices that you can put on there. And don't forget, not the spices, because we see in powder form, sometimes we forget that it comes from a leaf or from a seed or from a stone. It's just ground it down. So a lot of the ingredients, because one of my friends, she's got a company and she does like jerk spice, and it's all organic jerk spice. It's nice, it's all fresh. But because we see lots of things in packets, doesn't mean everything is processed in the same way.
So it depends on what's in the curry, basically.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so if you touch base with me, I can guide you in the right direction. Yeah.
Yeah, been feeling really lethargic in this lockdown, especially with the food and stuff. So I hear a lot of what you've been saying. It's been really ringing true with how you feel, the energy.
I think with the energy, like, because I think one of the things you should focus on is greens. Is greens. Anything leafy and they're green. This will help you with the energy. Because when I stopped eating meat and stuff like that, I was having kale, spinach, cabbage, all these things on a regular basis. It's just the analogy. What does a gorilla eat? You know? Do you understand me? So I know what you're saying, but even though you're feeling like you haven't got the energy for certain things, certain times, what you should do to yourself is tell yourself you do have energy. Yeah? Tell yourself you do have energy. I have energy. I feel positive. I feel strong. I'm going to do what it takes. I'm going to make my list, my goal list. I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve. I feel good about myself. You know, sometimes it's psychological because we're in a lockdown and we know we're going to be sitting down watching TV or doing nothing because we've done everything already. Okay, what am I going to do now? You know, you need to change it. Change your environment to a positive environment rather than a negative one. It's like I used to play drums. I've been playing not recently, but I've been starting to play my drums in the first lockdown. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's always been there. You know, I was playing music the other day on Facebook a few months ago because it's something DJ. That's something I always wanted to do. So I started to do something different. You know, just play music. Listen to music that you like, that makes you feel like, yeah, in the background. Because psychologically, certain things that take you back to your childhood, yeah, when you're younger, those feel-good factors do come back. You know?
Okay, thanks. Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
I hear that. Thanks.
Excellent. Okay, Chris, you've just managed to sneak in the last question of the night. If you would like to take yourself off mute and ask away, but that will be the last question of the night. Chris. I'll give you a few more moments. Okay, well, Chris has asked in the chat, anyone know whether high blood pressure tablets can be avoided by changing diet? I'll give that to anyone in the panel.
Well, high blood pressure comes from too much food in the system. Basically, your system's clogged up, so you need to clear the arteries. One of the good things for that is pomegranate. If you're gonna have pomegranate, have fresh pomegranate or 100% fresh organic pomegranate juice. It helps clear your tubes. You know, blood pressure builds up because your tubes are blocked. You know, so it's just like what Richard was saying about the Epsom salts and stuff like that. It helps clear the system. That's what it is. That's what it is. And like I said before, intermittently fasting does that as well. Clear the system. It does. It's funny because I think when I was reversing my diabetes, I can actually feel my blood flowing. Sometimes you're sitting down and you can feel this trickle, and you wonder what it is, and it's just your blood flowing through your system. You know, because your tubes are clean and clear. So there are foods to help clear the arteries, definitely. And pomegranate is one of them. I give my mum pomegranate, fresh pomegranate. I just knock out the seeds and let her sit there and eat it. I give her the blueberries as well. You know, yeah.
Excellent.
I'll just add a passing word before we finish. We also wanted to talk about well-being. Now, some of the things that we can do to help ourselves and is to give our eyes bright sunlight in the morning, to tell our bodies and our organs that it's daytime. go outside for at least 1 to 2 hours during the daylight hours and look at the sunset, because these things relate and bring us back to nature. Part of the issues that we have is that the alternative of medicine is going back to nature, which is through the diet, through the habits, through the rituals that we have. Cooked food is a ritual. Sleep is another thing. We have two lights. We have a daylight and we have a night light. And at nighttime, we're staying awake as if it's daytime. And so we're messing up what we're calling circadian rhythm. So in our project, we cover all of these subjects. So as a finishing, I'd just like to say, sleep is a medicine, sunlight is food, and rest and time away from electrical, digital things is also an ability to get back to nature. And being inside of what we call nature, where trees are, not manicured parks, but where trees are, is immensely important. If there is a medicine that can do a quick uplift, is going to a walk in some kind of wild, a place where there are trees. These things are really important, and we have a lot more tips that we can help you with, but I'll just leave you with those and really appreciate everyone's question tonight. And thank you for being interested in our project. And we really, really want to come and talk to everyone and meet everyone. And I'll say again, take3chefs.com, email take3chefs@gmail.com. And please contact us through the TTI as well. And we're interested in the whole of the family and all the food journeys that individuals will go through. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Teresa. May I be ever so naughty? We have another person who's just about sneaked in one last request. Anwar St. John, I'm going to give you the good gracious to take yourself off mute and ask the final question of the evening. Anwar St. John.
Thank you very much, Chair. God bless you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. What it was, I just had a small point to add to with the comrade asked the question about high blood pressure, how to reverse it. And one of the things I know is good for high blood pressure is the Morby bark. You boil the Morby bark. You can put some cloves in it, put some cinnamon in it. No sugar, no sugar in it at all. So it's just a Morby bark, 3 cloves. You can even put the rind of the dry orange peel in that. So cinnamon, Morby bark, the dried peel, and some cloves, 4 or 5 cloves. Boil it and drink that water. You drink that water regularly, morning, noon, and night, and your blood pressure gonna go straight down.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
May I just ask a question of Anwar? Anwar, where do you hail from, sir?
Me, as in roots Caribbean and thing like that.
Oh, Caribbean, yeah.
I'm born away, but my parents from Dominica and Antigua.
Oh, right, okay. The reason why I was saying that, because I also have a business in Grenada, and I know some St. John's. So when you put Morby in it, I said, Eastern Caribbean.
Yeah. Well, my sister living in Grenada. She's a Saint.
We have
in Grenada.
Okay, well, there's a coming up outlet on Grenad's Beach in Grenada behind School of Medicine next to Umbrellas. So there you go. You can tell her that.
Okay, will do.
Thank you.
Excellent. So, on behalf of myself, TTIP, and everyone who has joined us tonight, would like to thank Teresa, Lyndon, and Richard. Absolutely brilliant conversation tonight. And if everybody could take themselves off mute and give them a clap, that really would be appreciated. Absolutely brilliant.
Well done.
Well done.
Thank you. Very informative.
Charles, if you would like to close out, sir.
Yeah, I just just wanted to add something. So basically, thank you again, everyone, for tonight. It was very educational, as I anticipated it would be. And unfortunately, this is information that's not easy to obtain. You've got to literally sit down and do the graph to get it. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to kind of give us the shortcut route to the information that's relevant to keeping us alive and healthy. So thank you for that again. And I just wanted to say, next week, we're having a conversation about basically the impact of lockdown, the tier system, the effect on human rights, and how it's impacting on businesses. So that's next week's conversation. We've got 2 guest speakers on for that as well. So anyone who's got any views and opinions on that, this is a forum that we're trying to basically just obtain people's views on things, because a lot of people aren't allowed to speak out about how they really feel about stuff, and they're kind of shut down when they do so. So we just want to create a platform where people can come on once a week and just have a chat. So next week, as I said, we'll be talking about lockdown, the tier systems. We've got human rights in there, which is affected by the lockdown, mental health as a result of lockdown, and impact on businesses. So anyone who's got any thoughts on that, make sure you're on next week, and there'll be a whole conversation around it. I think we've got a specific person who specialises in human rights on, and someone else, I'm not too sure who the people are, but they'll come out in the leaflet for their flyers to everyone. All right, but thanks again for everyone who stayed on, and thank you to all the soldiers who soldiered it to the end. All right, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you all next week. And Darren, I'll let you kind of take us out. Thank you again, everybody.
Excellent. Once again, true troopers tonight. What are we on now? 45 people's in here. So once again, a big thank you for everyone enduring and contributing. Definitely. What makes these evenings brilliant is the contributions from everybody. Absolutely brilliant. As you've seen throughout the night, I've been putting in the various links for both the Take Free Chefs and, of course, the TTIP party as well. So please, please, please do get involved with us. Like I said, we will be happy to receive any kind of help, small or large, whatever you can assist with. Like I said, especially with regards to the positions we are also looking to fill within the party, please look on our website as per the links above. Julia, I believe you want to have a very quick question, please. If it could be very quick, please.
Thank you, Chair. It's not a question. I would just like to direct everybody's attention to the BBC One show tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Make it a must in your diary, and you'll be in for a very nice surprise. Please do. If you can't see it, please record it. Please catch up, whatever it takes, but please make sure you don't miss it. Tomorrow evening, BBC One show at 7 p.m. Oh, thank you, Chair.
Excellent. All right. Well, with that being said, we'd like to thank you all once again. Please do have a very good evening, what's left of it. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you all again. Please do tag a friend, family member, whoever you think would benefit from these sessions. And whoever you think they will not benefit, drag them along. Tell them to join us. Once again, we're here every Wednesday from 8 p.m. So thank you all on behalf of myself and TTIP, and of course our brilliant panelists as well. So have a great evening. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.